March 22nd, 2022. Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards is called to order. Pursuant to applicable law, the chairman has determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent. Accordingly, attendance at this meeting will be by remote means only. We'll start off with roll call. Committee members, please unmute yourself, and please note that your yes or present response will be deemed to be a yes vote when this quorum call is used as a reference vote for later items. All right, we will start with the roll. Vice Chair Raboyes.
Present.
Alderman Hopkins. Alderman Dowell. Alderman Sawyer.
Here.
Alderman Beal. Alderman Ray Lopez.
Live from Brighton Park, Chairman.
Alderman David Moore. Alderman Mike Rodriguez.
Present.
Alderman Cicho. I'm sorry. Who's that, David? Was that David Moore?
Yes.
Okay,
Present.
David. Thank you, David. Alderman Cicho Lopez.
Present.
Alderman Burnett. Alderman Cardona. Alderman Wagasback.
Present.
Alderman Kerry Austin. Alderman Villegas.
Present.
Alderman Riley. Alderman Kappelman.
Present.
Alderman Osterman. And Alderwoman Haddon.
Present.
Chairman, did you miss Alderman Riley?
I did. Now we got you, Brendan. And I, of course, am here. So we have a quorum. All right. We'll now move on to the approval of the Rule 45 reports containing the minutes of the February 2022 hearing of the Committee on Zoning, Landmark, and Building Standards. All members of this committee should have received a copy of this report electronically. And if hearing no objections, do I have a motion by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum to approve the minutes?
Alderman Riley so moves.
Alderman Riley makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing no objections, the report has been approved. Moving on, we will now hear the items to be deferred. I will read the ward, the file number, the address, and page number, and take a motion for all at the end. Committee members, the following items do not appear on the revised agenda before you. On page 4 of the regular agenda, file number 20940 for the address commonly known as 1100 through 1152 West Blackhawk Street, 1400 through 1460 North Cherry Avenue, 1407 through 1451 North Cherry Avenue, and 1055 through 1067 West Weed Street. On page 4 of the regular agenda, file number 20948 for the address commonly known as 1026 through 1044 West Jackson Boulevard. On page 7 of the regular agenda, file number 20954 T1 for the address commonly known as 9901 South Cottage Grove Avenue. On page 7 of the regular agenda, file number 20951 T1 for the address commonly known as 5339 through 5353 South State Street and 2 through 16 East 54th Street. On page 11 of the deferred agenda, file number 20936 T1 for the address commonly known as 3600 West Potomac Avenue. Also on page 11 of the deferred agenda, file number 20734 T1 for the address commonly known as 2934 through 2940 West Medill Avenue. Committee members, the next item does appear on the agenda before you. Again, we'll be deferring this item on page 3 of the revised agenda and page 3 of the regular agenda. File number 20943 for the address commonly known as 30 South Waller Avenue. If no questions by committee members, can I get a motion to move to defer these items by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved, Alderman Lopez.
Alderman Ray Lopez makes the motion. Any objections to the motion? Hearing no objections, these items will be deferred. All right, we have 10 public speakers signed up for today's hearing, and we will hear from them now. And where's our list? Okay, I see we've been joined by Alderman Cardona and Alderman Austin. Committee members, they'll be recognized for the purpose of quorum. Do we have other members that are, or non-members that want to be addressed? Okay, so first public speaker is Gloria Cozy. Gloria.
Gloria Cozy, please press *6 on your phone to unmute.
Good morning. I'm Gloria Cozy. I'm the president of the Rosemore Community Association. We are a nonprofit whose mission is working to create a better quality of life for the Rosemore community. Today I speak before you due to a prospective business desire to bring a new gas station on the property located at 511 East 103rd Street. While the community welcome new businesses to the community, we also look at how this new venture will help to increase economic development, how the development is received by the community, and if the community can support this business. In this case, we have had only one very, very preliminary discussion about this idea with the owners, and it was strongly made clear at that time that the community objected to a second gas station being built on the four corners where an existing one is already in plan. The office of the Alderman Beal's office has indicated also a lack of support for a second station being built. The owner has not reached out to the community to seek support or to share information that they still plan to move ahead to build this station, even though they also was informed of this information. Plan I in motion to renovate an existing station, and it's located at 452 East 103rd Street. The community drafted a letter of support to the alderman supporting this development and has been in ongoing communication with the owners and been able to express their concerns and what we would like to see included in the reconstruction of this station, and that would enhance the community. Lastly, with the existing station 4 blocks east and another one 8 blocks west, the community feels it cannot support a fourth gas station. We're asking that the development reach out to the community and that we collectively start an open discussion of what will work for both of us. I thank you this morning for your time.
Gloria, our records show that, give me the address again, Gloria, because I don't think that's on the agenda today.
I'm sorry, Gloria Cozy, please press *6 again on your phone.
Okay, you wanted the address. The address of the plan to build this station is 511 East 103rd Street. And
Right.
there's already a plan for at 452.
Gloria, we don't have that item on the agenda at this point, so there's probably more community process being done. It's not going to be heard today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, our next speaker, Marie Tice.
Mary Tice, please press *6 on your phone to unmute. *6.
Mr. Chairman, Alderman Dowell, will you please record me for the quorum?
Yes, Chairwoman, you're recorded for the quorum purpose. All right, again, Marie Tice.
Mary Tice, you were unmuted just for a second and you muted yourself again. Please press *6 again. There you go.
Hi,
Okay,
Marie.
thank you. Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Proceed.
I'm objecting to number 20944, 8532 South Ashland. This is to change the zoning from B11 to B32 to establish a banquet hall at that location. And I'm registering my opposition to that because we feel that the current zoning is suited to the character of our neighborhood. We don't want a larger shopping district that permits larger businesses, such as the proposed banquet hall. We've learned that a banquet hall allows liquor to be served at events, including the unregulated BYOB, that's bring your own bottle practice. When we went door to door collecting signatures to vote the 8532 precinct dry, we were greeted like superheroes. This was done in response to a corner store at 85th and Ashland selling liquor. There was extreme loitering at that store and an increase in prostitution in the 85 and 8600 blocks of Ashland. We were successful in voting that precinct dry. Now that was in 2006, and yet the prostitution continues despite our complaints to the 21st Ward and a 6th District Police Station. We recognize the low priority of this issue with CPD because of their shrinking ranks and massive gun violence. We do not need to add a banquet hall, alcohol use, increased foot and vehicular traffic to an already problematic location. When a banquet hall was illegally operated at 8532 under previous ownership, we experienced numerous challenges, many of which involved large, unruly crowds of drunken people, congested double parking on Ashland, the use of the alley between Ashland and Marshfield as a thoroughfare, while blocking the garages of residents in the 8500 block of Marshfield. Garbage, including broken glass, food wrappers, and other debris was strewn throughout the area following an event. Alcohol appeared to be the catalyst for much of that behavior. When we spoke with the new owner of that property, she stated she intended to use 2 to 3 armed security officers at each event, even though she said she planned not to have alcohol. The company she named to provide security is not a security company. Rather, it offers for free to connect, or for a fee, to connect providers of all kinds with potential customers. The use of a reputable licensed security firm to provide security at 8532, whatever the nature of the business she operates.
Thank you, Marie. Your time is up. Our next speaker, Angela Austin.
Angela Austin, please press *6 on your phone. Angela Austin, please press *6 to unmute yourself. You are muted.
All right, let's skip that. All right, well, let's move on. We'll come back to Angela. Next speaker, Linda Bowers.
Good morning. This is Mrs. Bowers. Angela is in a meeting at work. She can't chime in here. Anyway, the previous history of 8532 Ashland was disastrous. It was a banquet hall that led to loud music, excessive traffic, liquor bottles, and alley debris. So we voted it dry. That's why a beauty shop was welcomed. Miss Morgan's current zone is acceptable to us. The block behind Miss Morgan's building consists of seniors, retirees, and new young families that have children. It is becoming more diverse with people from different cultures. However, our neighborhood already has an ongoing issue of 30 years of relentless prostitution 200 feet from Miss Morgan's building. A zone change with approval to serve liquor would increase undesirable activities as well as traffic and an influx of strangers to our community. I don't see an entertainment banquet hall improving our block, neighborhood, or community. I emphatically resent and reject a zone change to an area that we worked so hard to vote dry in 2006. We are people of faith and wish to live in peace and harmony, and alcohol or any intent that is harmful to our families, we reject. God will help us in this fight against alcohol and ongoing prostitution in our community. Help make us victorious and vote no to a zone change and the corner of Ashland, 86 and Ashland, help us to fight that prostitution. I am vehemently, emphatically rejecting a zone change to 8532 Ashland. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bowers. I see Walter Burnett has joined us. Walter, you want to be recognized for the purpose of quorum?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker, Larry Bowers. Larry?
Mr. Chairman, Alderman Hopkins to the roll
Oh, I'm
call as
sorry.
well.
Alderman Hopkins will be added to the quorum call. Thank you. Next
Thank you,
speaker, Larry Bowers.
Larry Bowers, please press *6 to unmute.
Good morning. This comment is in reference to 8532 Ashland. I'm a retiree who married into this block last year. And during this time, I've seen prostitution regularly in the shared alley in the back behind our garage. I don't want to see a zone change that would lead to alcohol consumption, crime, and prostitution traffic in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Next speaker, Mary Enyard.
Greetings, Mary Castle Linyard. I come before you representing CAPS. I am a CAPS facilitator, which represents Chicago Alternative Policing Strategies, and I am also the chair of the Black Club Initiative in our neighborhood, and as well as a resident. So I come before you representing our neighborhood in its fullest. I am in objections to changing the current zoning to the new zoning, to the zoning to B3-2 for several reasons. Based on the crime statistics in our community, throughout the city, we have one of the lowest rates of crime. And one of the reasons being is because we work very closely within our community. We evaluate what goes on in our community for change to better and enhance our community. We work very closely with the police department, so we are very aware of what happens. As was mentioned, we walk the streets to get our community, this precinct, voted dry because of the things that we started seeing in our community contributed to the alcohol rate of all of those activities. Also, we know that if this zone changes, it's going to increase traffic jams and all kind of things right there at Ashland. We also know that it will increase amounts of people coming into our neighborhoods all day long. This is a community of a neighborhood of many seniors that have started out being very youthful, raising their children, also raising their grandchildren. And we've done a fantastic job doing all of that within our community, with us all working collectively together. Also, we know that when the zone changes, we're going to have some security issues, as was mentioned before. This is not a reputable organization making security, or you go find whoever you think is appropriate for your business, which you really don't know. And it concerns us about that situation, along with possible alcohol. Bring your own bottle serving, what all of that entails. And we know that it is going to turn our community upside down. We know that in our neighborhood, we take pride in everything that we do. We walk the streets, we talk to one another, we're very neighborly, and we get things done because we work collectively. And changing the zone to something that is going to be brand new that could possibly bring other unknown possibilities, we are really not at that point. Okay.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mayflower.
Mayflower.
Okay,
you go ahead.
Mayflowers. I'm Mayflowers, and I'm calling today to let you all know, please help us out, because we do not want to have our zoning change. We are listening. If we have a zoning change, we will be listening at nothing but loud music on weekends, and we are senior citizens, and I live directly behind this this building. So I've been through that, and I do not want to go through that again. I am a senior citizen, 80 years old. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mayflower. Our next speaker, Kristen Perkins.
Kristen Perkins, please press *6 to unmute.
Hello?
Yes, Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Okay,
Actually, I just
you
want
can proceed.
Okay, thank you. I don't really have anything to add. The previous speakers have brought up everything. I want to just repeat what Mrs. Flowers said. We are basically a senior community. We are very content with the way the ordinance is now. We don't want to have additional people coming in for a party that may end up in disaster. We have a big problem in the city of Chicago with things that happen when people are drinking alcohol. We do have a problem in this country with people carrying guns. We don't need a large number of people coming into an affair. The current ordinance works just fine for us, and we would like to keep it the way it is. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kristen. Our next speaker, Carol Mohammed.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I agree with Ms. Flowers and with all of my neighbors who have spoke. They speak for me. I have been a resident in this community for over 50 years, a homeowner for almost 15 years now, grew up here. And so I feel that I'm invested. I have been invested in my resources, invested with my family to be here. I don't support the change of the zone. I think it is a nightmare waiting to happen. I think it's not the time in our community to make such a swift decision about rezoning and opening up the community to have a banquet hall over here. It's just not right. We are struggling to maintain, as Mary Castle Enyart said, maintain integrity of our space, our community. And the crime rate has been low in comparison to other communities, and we are proud of that, and we want to continue to build on that. I don't think this is an opportunity that will promote the building of a stronger community. I really think it's going to create more opportunities for increased prostitution, increased violence, increased home invasions, which are on the uptake throughout the city. So if there's an opportunity for us to close up the ranks and keep what we have the way it is in terms of zoning, I support that 100%. I am not in agreement to change the zoning. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our final speaker, Alfred Evans.
Chairman, I don't see Alfred Evans' phone number in the meeting.
All right, is there a last call for Alfred Evans? No? All right, and we heard that Angela Austin is not available for the public comment period. All right, so that concludes the public speaking portion of the hearing. Yeah, okay. And before we get into the addendum, I'm going to move at the preference of a couple of our colleagues to page 1 on the aldermanics. And let me read that into the record. It's document number A8737 in the 17th and 18th wards. Ordinance was referred on January 26th of 2022. Common address is 7101 through 7358 South Bell Avenue. And the change request from an RS2 residential single unit detached house district and M11 limited manufacturing district, all to a T transportation district. So Alderman David Moore or Alderman Curtis, who would like to begin on this aldermanic?
Chairman, thank you so much for calling this and helping out with the time constraint I have. Yes, this is part of the 75th Street corridor improvement project that is going on, a multi-million-dollar project, which is located in the Chicago neighborhoods of Ashburn, Inglewood, and Auburn Gresham, as well as West Chatham. This particular item is the 75th Street grade separation, and people may know it as the CREATE project, which is the Chicago Region Environmental and Transportation Efficiency Program to improve rail. And this 71st Street grade separation is going to help with traffic, because right now, as the trains go into the rail yards, it backs up traffic quite a bit. So this is going to raise that so that the trains can go through, as well as traffic can be able to proceed simultaneously. And so this is good for our community and would help all, not only within the community of transportation, but also with jobs and everything. So I appreciate this, and I ask for this committee's favorable approval on this item.
Thank you, Alderman David Moore. Do we have Alderman Derek Curtis on the line? No, I know we've got his support, obviously, as an aldermanic. Alderman Ray Lopez would like to speak on this item. Raymond?
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, members of the committee. I too wish to add my voice of support to this item. Though it's not in my ward, CSX does intersect with my ward as well as with Alderman Coleman's ward as well. We've done a number of things over the past several years to help build and expand and allow CSX to grow. They have maintained their commitment to our communities, both in Chicago Lawn and West Englewood, and I would be remiss if I didn't stand in support of them. We talk a great deal about a lot of the issues impacting our economy locally and nationally. The importance of rail cannot be underestimated. We have 5 lines that come through the city, and we need to do everything that we can to remove the barriers to their success. Especially through this pandemic, more and more goods have come by rail. Those Amazon packages, all of that does not arrive magically at your doorstep. It gets here somehow. And this is just one more way where Chicago can continue to show that we are a place of business and that we are continuing our long and historic relationship with the rail industry moving forward into the 21st century. And happy to make the motion if my colleagues have not already, assuming no one else is willing to speak on this matter, Chairman.
Thank you, Raymond. Alderman, well, let's put it this way. I think for the record, we have Alderman Cardona on the call. Felix, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll add you to the quorum call, sir. And
Thank you, Chairman. I apologize.
And then Alderman Villegas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also stand in support of this important project for the region. As stated, Chicago is the hub of the nation as it relates to rail. We're home to 6 of the Class 1 railroads here. And unfortunately, we also have a ton of at-grade crossings that need to be repaired. This CREATE project is a multi-billion-dollar project and is important to our economy to keep goods and services from going across the country. A quick fact, it takes 2 days to get from Washington State to Chicago with goods. It takes 2 days to get through Chicago in order to get to the East Coast. And so the more investments that we can make in rail will continue to keep us as a leader in transportation. So I stand in full support of this project and these types of investments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Villegas. Any more questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to move due pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved, Alderman Lopez.
Alderman Moore makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. Kamal and Tech, please, could you elevate as co-host ZLBS 01? We had a little glitch here in the committee computer.
It's done, Chair.
All right, I appreciate it. Alderman Beal, good morning.
Good morning. Just want to make sure you got me as quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Now we're going to go back to the addendum to the agenda, and we have one demolition of a non-contributing building in the East Village Landmark District, document number OR 2022-40 in the first ward, located at 843 North Walcott. We have Matt Crawford here from the Department of Planning and Development to present on this matter. And I know we're going to have Alderman Laspada speak. So for the committee members, please listen into this demo. It's an unusual request on both sides of the aisle here. So Matt, can you start the presentation, please?
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. Kamal, can you give me screen sharing?
It's done.
Thank you. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Thank you. So for the record, my name is Matt Crawford. I'm a coordinating planner with the Department of Planning and Development. And I also serve as staff to the Commission on Chicago Landmarks.
Matt, would you speak up just a little bit? I'm a senior citizen, okay? So
how's
Chairman,
that?
can you turn on his camera, please?
My camera is not working. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Just be strong, Matt. Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm here on behalf of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks, which is recommending approval of an application to demolish this building, which it found to be non-contributing to the East Village Landmark District. And the address is 843 North Wolcott. So just for a quick background, the East Village District was designated in 2006 and consists of about 197 buildings, mostly 19th century residential housing. The majority of the buildings are masonry. This map shows how the district consists of 4 non-contiguous sections on the northwest side, and the black dot indicates the location of the subject property. Here's the building in its context at left on the block on Wolcott, and the front facade at right. At its December 2nd, 2021 meeting, the Commission on Chicago Landmarks reviewed a permit application to demolish this 2-story residential building. At that meeting, the commission determined that 1, the building is non-contributing to the district, and 2, its demolition will not adversely affect any significant historical features of the district, and 3, it's recommending to City Council that the demolition application be approved. So for the commission's making a determination of the building being non-contributing, it has to follow these 6 criteria. And it was these 3 that led the commission to its non-contributing determination. For number one, the commission found that the building did not exhibit the significant historical and architectural features of the district. As a wood frame building, it is an outlier in a district of more ornate brick and stone buildings. Similarly, for number five, the materials of the building, particularly the later brick foundation, aluminum windows, and vinyl siding, are not consistent with a district of more ornate brick and stone buildings. And then for criterion 6, similarly, the extensive alterations to the building, including siding, new window openings, new windows, a new brick foundation, and an enclosed porch, and a complete absence of any ornament, all indicated to the commission that the building is non-contributing and therefore its demolition will not have an adverse effect on what makes East Village a significant historic place and resource in the city. I should note that the building is located in the First Ward, and Alderman Laspada does not support the commission's recommendation, and he objects to the building's demolition. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Okay, Matt, I know we have Alderman Laspada here. I believe we have an attorney for the homeowners on the call. Is that correct, staff?
Correct.
Okay, so I would like to do a couple things. I would like to hear, I will let the alderman close if that's your wish, Alderman Laspada. Okay, so the first, I would like to hear from the attorney for the homeowners. Okay, before I do that, we're going to ask questions. I've got a few of myself, but Alderman Raboyes, are you going to hold on questions until we hear from the homeowner's attorney?
That's fine, Chairman.
Okay, all right. Kamal, do we have that? David Hyde? Okay. Mr. Hyde, can you identify?
He was still under attendees. I just promoted him. He's coming in.
Okay, so Mr. Hyde, are you on the call? And if so, would you identify yourself and your interest in the property?
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Tunney. My name is David Hyde, and I'm an attorney for the Ortegon family. I'm here today to assist them in their presentation to this committee. And I also want to say good morning to the other members of this committee. I'm very glad to be here today. Briefly, I'm going to turn this over to my clients, Nicole and her husband, Andrew, who represent the family. They have a short presentation for you. But before I do that, I wanted to sort of lay a framework here for what the Chicago City ordinances say about this demolition process as it comes out of the Commission on Landmarks. The operative ordinance is 12-120-825. And after approval from the Commission on Landmarks, a request for a demolition goes to the full city council through this by way of this committee. And what the ordinance says about your decision here today is that the city council's decision shall be based on whether the proposed demolition will adversely affect any significant historical or architectural feature of the improvement or the district, and is in accord with the standards for rehabilitation set forth in the United States Secretary of the Interior's regulations, as well as the Commission on Landmarks' own regulations. So that's the framework for this decision. And in addition to my words today, you're going to hear from Nicole and Andrew. And we've also submitted for your review the report that Nicole and Andrew did. Nicole and Andrew are both professors working around the Chicago area, and they are very talented researchers. They created a report that was submitted to the Commission on Landmarks that I believe was very convincing to the commission and resulted in them voting for us and voting in favor of us 5-2. In addition, we submitted some other materials, including an affidavit from the family's realtor, Will Goldberg, as well as a very experienced architect who has taken a look at this property and has provided his opinion about its general condition and its prospects and the appropriateness of demolition. Similarly, Mr. Goldberg's affidavit recites that the family made many efforts to market this property the way it is conditioned right now and had no takers. And that in his opinion as a successful realtor here in Chicago, that the best option for this property is to be sold as an empty lot. And this is not a decision that the Ortegon family arrived at lightly. They are longtime residents. They are a Mexican-American family that has lived in this area for over 50 years. But I don't want to steal my client's thunder, and I'd like to turn the floor over to them, to Nicole and her husband, to say a few words.
Okay. So we have, is it the Cole family? Ortegon family?
Yes,
They're
hello. Yes.
promoted? Oh, there we are. Okay. Good morning. Would you identify yourself for the record and proceed? And I know you have some slides on the property. Okay.
We do. Who has it?
We have it.
You have the okay. slides, okay.
We do. Okay.
Okay. Can you proceed to the next slide? My name is Nicole Ortegon. I'll be speaking here today on behalf of my family. I'm sorry, hold on one moment. I'm just exiting the full screen so that I can reference my remarks. Okay. Good afternoon, Chairperson Tunney and honorable members of the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. First, we thank you for the opportunity to address the City Council today. As I stated, my name is Nicole Ortegon, daughter of the property owner, Daniel. I'm joined by my husband, Andrew Roback, to speak on behalf of my family. My husband and I currently reside at the property and have ourselves been proud residents of the East Village community for nearly 15 years. The Ortegons, as Mr. Hyde mentioned, a Mexican-American family of 8 moved from Laredo, Texas to Chicago, Illinois in 1956. My grandparents, Manuel and Eva, labored arduously to achieve the American dream of home ownership. In 1968, they purchased the property located at 843 North Walcott Avenue, providing a new beginning for themselves and their 6 children. The property has been in my family for 53 years, and 3 generations have known it as home. We have a deep respect for the history of the neighborhood, a history of which we are an integral part. My family has worked to maintain the property to the best of its abilities. However, the owners, now in their elderly years, are no longer able to do so physically or financially.
In preparation for today, we dedicated 18 months to researching the history of this property and compiled our research into the report that you received. We presented our findings at the December meeting of the Landmark Commission. We argued that the structure is non-contributing, and the Landmark Commission voted in our favor 5-2. We'll present a brief summary of our findings here today. The full report is available for your review and contains a great deal more historical information. We are also happy to address any questions that committee members may have.
Okay. Hold on. So before, I know you made a thorough presentation to the Landmark Commission. We obviously have heard the vote. We're not going to spend another 20 minutes on the historical perspective. So if you could consolidate and move quickly, because we will have some questions for the department and possibly the family. And we're going to hear from Alderman LaSpada also. So if you could consolidate in the effort of time, we've got a very long agenda today, but certainly appreciate your commitment to this community in the street. Thank you.
We consolidated our remarks to roughly 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have 5 more minutes.
Let's go. Let's go.
You got it.
We're supposed to be on slide 3, I believe. The history of the property. Yeah, we found 3 different structures on existing fire maps, beginning with a frame house, which was ultimately converted to flats, and then replaced with the current structure built in the same footprint, a 2-story gable front frame house with a brick basement. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. As you can see in this table, the materials of construction, heating, lighting, and exterior finishes on the current structure are all consistent with a building constructed circa 1930, not an historic 19th century workers' cottage. Our report contains additional details. Next slide, please.
Okay, further, we had also discussed that there was an eyewitness. My uncle Joseph had a conversation with a person years ago who had claimed to be the eyewitness of the construction of the current building. And we provided a brief excerpt from the interview with the family member, which is seen here. In short, the eyewitness his account also confirmed what our architectural expert independently concluded, which was that the structure was built in the 20th century outside of the contributing period.
Next slide, please. This lists the same criteria that you also saw. We made a point-by-point summary of that evidence. The Landmark Commission hearing. So we'll go through very quickly and summarize. Criterion 1, in describing contributing building types in the district, the preliminary landmark district reports notes that the workmanship, detailing, and high quality materials of the building reflects the type of housing available to the area's early working and middle class residents. The passage shown on the next slide, please, describes a prototypical worker's cottage. Next slide. The authors of the landmark designation report omitted 843 North Walcott as an example of this type of cottage. And a comparison of these structures reveals why. It has no properties characterized by the HPD as emblematic of construction for contributing properties in this district. The cottages referenced by street address in the landmark report clearly display the type of workmanship, detailing, and high quality materials that the HPD finds worthy of preservation. Next slide. They have ornamented gable roofs. Next slide. And decorative window lintels that are consistent with craftsmanship of the era. Next slide. As you can see, 843 North Walcott contains none of these properties. Next slide, please.
And if an average person was were asked to identify the common architectural structural detail in this landmark district, we discussed how they most likely focus on the red brick Victorian era construction. Cottages are included as an exception in the report, in the landmark report, and 843 North Walcott does not fit that criteria for a cottage or resemble the types of structures depicted as examples on the Landmark Commission's website.
Next slide, please.
In 2005, DHP researchers also agreed with our architect's report that the building was non-contributing. So here, as Matt Crawford stated, you see how our structure is located between the two contributing structures on our block, seems to have been included in the non-contiguous boundaries of a scaled back district that served as a compromise after the larger district was rejected by the National Registry of Historic Places for including too many non-contributing buildings.
Next slide, please. In previous hearings, the HPD has argued that a contributing property shares general site characteristics and setbacks consistent with the Sanborn maps, as was discussed. We conducted a visual survey of all the lots in the district to compare current structures with the 1950 Sanborn fire map, and you can see an example of our survey sheet. We found that almost every property in the district that has a frame structure present on the 1950 map is consistent with the general site characteristics, including the non-contributing buildings, due to the lot geometry, 25 feet by 125 feet. Our position was that these criteria are so broad as to include all properties in the area of the city, including non-contributing properties, and that should not be given more weight than our research specific to this property. Next slide. The city speculated that it is possible to restore the facade to a historic condition, but we presented firsthand information that Matt Crawford was discussing about changes and updates made to the building. An example would be the modern windows. Next slide, please.
In a response to the critique of demolishing a frame structure, we pointed out that there was never a significant number of frame structures in the district to begin with. The last 7 decades have only seen a modest decline. So there is not a demolition epidemic in the district. And given that the structure has been determined to be non-contributing and bears no resemblance to the character, color, or texture of structural materials in the district, its demolition will not have an adverse effect on the district.
Next slide, please.
Also, many conjectures were made about the original materials, assuming the construction date to be the 19th century, and that the removal of synthetic siding and windows would reveal historic preservation treasures. We pointed out that those are assumptions, not evidence, and the owners and report authors, as stated, have firsthand evidence, or firsthand knowledge, rather, of the materials of construction that they felt was important and asked to be taken into consideration as principal stakeholders and the party most likely to be significantly affected by any decision regarding demolition. Lastly, again, we'd just like to conclude that our findings demonstrated that the structure is non-contributing, and as the commission agreed, its demolition will not have an adverse effect on the historic landmark district. And we thank you again for your time and attention.
Thank you very much for your time and attention.
All righty, thank you for the report. We've got questions from committee members. I saw that Alderman Raboyes originally had his hand up first. Alderman Raboyes, Vice Chair. Maybe he got off for his, maybe he got off for a second. Alderman Sawyer.
Thank you, Chairman. And good morning to everyone. Although I do want to hear from the alderman, and I know he's closing, but my question was, the attorneys appeared to make an indication that our vote or our determination is restricted on the ordinance provisions. Is that what the council is stating to us?
He can read.
Alderman
Okay,
Sawyer, yes.
Mr.
So
Hyde. Okay.
I was reading directly from the text of 12-120-825, and that's what the text of that particular ordinance that governs demolitions in a historic landmark district. That's what governs that, and so I can share that particular excerpt if you like, but that is found at 2-120-825.
I trust that you're correct, and I just wanted to make sure that what you're stating to us is that obviously we want to hear from our colleague Alderman LaSpada on his concerns, and I'm glad to hear from your clients who made a very persuasive presentation. Obviously, not just to us, but to the Board of Landmarks department, and I just want to know that, you know, I this is not my area. I don't live there. And I would generally defer to the alderman's concerns. And although I did hear your clients and they made a very intelligent and persuasive presentation. Now, the only other question I had, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but also I think you stated, or I think it was stated collectively that the desire is to sell this property. Is that correct?
I think ultimately, yes. And you know,
and would the highest and best use of this sale would be as a vacant lot?
And we did submit that affidavit from the realtor, as well as an opinion of an architect that has inspected the property, that the property is not in great shape. It's not a candidate for rehabilitation, for rehab.
Do you want to speak on this or not?
Am I muted?
No, we can hear you, Councilor.
Oh, sorry. And that in the opinion of the realtor and the architect, there's the highest and best use of this property is as a vacant lot. And to answer your earlier question, my read of the ordinance is that this committee and the city council's decision, it says shall be based on certain things. And when I as an attorney read something that says shall
be a directive, I get you. Yeah.
So that's my read on it. And those other factors, I would submit that it's a relatively limited inquiry here. And it's on the shall part of the statute. But we wanted to bring in all the available information for this committee's review. And I understand Alderman LaSpada's position. We respectfully disagree with it. And I'll wait to hear what that position is.
And last, Chairman Tunney, is there any opinion by the Council for Zoning as relates to this particular provision? And what our responsibility is?
Well, first of all, the Department of Planning supports the recommendation from the Landmark Commission, and they're all part of the Department of Planning. So the Department of Planning would support the demo of this building.
I guess my question is, would they support the interpretation of the ordinance as stated by Councilor?
Okay. All right. Well, we have, let's see, Deanna or Matt, you want to answer that question for Alderman?
Sure. Chairman, honey, members of the committee, section 2-120-825 says, quote, the city council's decision shall be based on whether the proposed demolition will adversely affect any significant historical or architectural feature of the improvement or the district. And that decision should be in accord with the standards for rehabilitation set forth by the U.S. Secretary of the Interior, as amended from time to time, as well as the criteria to review demolition as set forth in the Commission's rules and regulations. That were those 6 points that we've discussed. So there is really, the idea is that the decision shall be based on significant historical or architectural features. And the Landmarks Commission has said that this building does not possess those features because of extensive alteration.
All right, anything else? Anything else, Alderman Sawyer? That's it? Okay. Alderman Ray Lopez.
Thank you, Chairman. Can actually we hear from our colleague to know what exactly the issue is from his perspective? Because it's hard to have a discussion when we've only heard one side so far.
Okay, well, I'm happy to bring on Alderman LaSpada. Would you like to at least talk about, as a representative of the First Ward, your viewpoint and your community's viewpoint?
Certainly, Chairman. I really appreciate the time. Colleagues, I appreciate your thoughtful consideration today. I want to start by saying that the First Ward and the East Village have been lucky to have the Ortegans as neighbors for so long, to contribute so deeply to the health of our community. So today we're talking in no way about the family. We are simply talking about this building. And as you know, the First Ward comprises a lot of different communities. The East Village, in that area, I turn frequently to the East Village Association for their feedback, particularly on zoning and planning issues. And I will, before my comments, because my goal here is to simply give you all of the context for the decision that you're going to make. What they said to me, and I'm going to read briefly from their letter, is a comprehensive and dynamic interpretation of history is one of the prime reasons for preserving the community's historic assets. This simple wood structure contrasts with the red brick buildings that characterize the East Village district. It tells a slightly different story about the people living and building in East Village during Chicago's post-fire period. The existence of this modest home allows observant passerbys to consider an alternate narrative to the one told by the ubiquitous red brick Victorians and contributes to a richer understanding of our neighborhood's history. Despite its differences, the inclusion of this structure in the district is completely consistent with the criteria for designation. Being a working class residence dating from the last decades of the 1800s, while it has been altered, the changes are reversible and its appears to retain its original front window configuration, if not the original windows themselves. This bodes well for the possibility that original materials are preserved underneath the applied siding and trim. The loss of this modest building would imply a homogeneity among the red brick Victorians that is inaccurate, and it would deprive the community of a full understanding of its history. So that gets to a little bit of the understanding that they have of this property and of a district that they fought to create. I also want to put forward to you that this property was actually recommended to be found as a contributing building by the historic district, by the Department of Planning and Development. That ruling was overturned by the Commission on Chicago Landmarks in a contested vote. We heard about this contested vote. It was a 5-2. One of the opposing commissioners was our commissioner, Commissioner Maurice Cox. So I wanted to be clear that this is not a black and white issue. There are a lot of different perspectives on it. The zoning here is an RT-4 zoning, which does allow for significant rehab. We know that it's currently a 2-flat building. There's the potential to rehab. There's the potential that we could work in the long run. In fact, I think it is, or we could work to do an accessory dwelling unit here. I'm very keen to work with the developer on this, as ADUs have been taken up really well in the First Ward. And while it was said that there hasn't been a demolition epidemic in the district, there certainly has been in Westtown. When we look at these numbers, as you looked at that map, this is a beautiful street. Lots of buildings from outside of what we call the contributing period. But as you know, we have not done a historic survey in Chicago in a long time. There are buildings in this area that you and I know are historic in their character that would be lost, we would have demolition permits come to us if we allow this demolition to move forward. This is the context that I wanted to bring. Colleagues, I know that you will vote your conscience on this, but I just want to make sure that you had the context of how a lot of folks in my community feel, on how I feel, I will say regardless of the vote today, I will ask to be recorded as a no vote in council tomorrow. That's everything that I wanted to lend. Thank you, Chairman.
Alderman Laspada. Alderman Ray Lopez, you've heard testimony from the alderman. Would you like to comment or ask further question?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I do appreciate that from our colleague. I think that helps give a greater understanding of the balance of the argument. But as I'm looking at the East Village District report published by the City of Chicago, it's fairly evident to me what kind of structures they were talking about. Mostly buildings built in the 1880s. And I'm no expert on this district. I'm just doing a cursory look of documents from when Richard M. Daley was mayor. I don't believe, and I think the commission is correct in saying that this building does not fit that status. What's concerning to me is that we are once again trying to hold owners hostage with properties that they own and doing what they want to do with them, particularly in a district where this has no historical significance, no offense, to the overall landmark. We're trying to force that issue onto this house. We're trying to force that we can change history, that we can expand history by including this house. But if that's the case, then everything in Chicago would be a historical district. That standard can't apply here because that is a whole new direction for how we do things in the city of Chicago. If everything is significant, then nothing is significant. And in this case, there are things that are specifically significant in the East Village. And though I understand the community organization's attempt to try and expand that definition directly and now indirectly, you cannot hold people's property hostage because of it. They have paid their dues to that neighborhood. They are trying to make decisions based on what their family's needs are. And the Landmark Commission has gotten out of the way, and it's time for the City Council to get out of the way as well. Because if it doesn't fit the designation, any vote other than that, aside from the fact that it's veiled as you're making an illegal vote or an incorrect vote, you're doing things for all the wrong reasons. And although I hear what has been said, I'm sure there's more to it. But I will be a no on this matter, Chairman, because I think that is what is the right and best thing for this property and this family moving forward. Thank you.
All right, Alderman Kappelman.
Thank you, Chair. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be an architect. I ended up becoming a social worker instead. But as a social worker, I learned the value of listening to experts when it comes to providing care for people, especially the most vulnerable. And likewise, I also believe in relying on experts in other matters, such as experts in historical preservation. So it feels really awkward to me to go against the expertise of those committed to maintaining the architectural integrity of Chicago's neighborhoods. So I feel compelled to agree with the decision made by the Landmarks Commission. So I will support what the owners request. Thank you.
All right. I don't see any other hands up. As the chairperson, I do want to ask a question. I'm sorry.
Alderman Sawyer, point of information.
All right, Alderman Sawyer on a point of information.
Just making sure that we get the votes correct. I was listening to Alderman Lopez's statement, which was actually very compelling. But at the end, he stated he would be voting no in support of the family. Wouldn't it be a yes?
Well, he would be, yes. He would
I misspoke.
Yes. So Alderman Lopez reaffirmed that you are supporting the demolition of this building.
Correct.
Okay.
Apologies.
Thank you. Thanks, Rod. All right.
No on the item, a yes for the family. Yes, Chairman.
Okay. So a couple of questions for in here.
You're muted.
Wait a second. Lopez. The question is, do you support the demo of this house on Walcott?
You're asking me, Chairman? Or you?
Yes.
Yes, I do support
Correct.
the demolition.
That is a yes vote. It's not a
Yeah,
no.
so when we have the vote, I will reaffirm it, how we vote. Okay, all right. Now, I have a couple of questions for the department. Number one, let's go back to the slide that Matt originally put forth to the committee. Matt Crawford. First slide. Okay, maybe it's not the first slide, but the house to the right seems to be built around a period. Yes. Now that second blondish house, is that a contributing building or a non-contributing building also? Hello? Who do we have on from Landmarks? Matt, I think you're muted.
Sorry, Commissioner, I'm here.
Uh,
Okay. So that particular house, let me look it up.
And then while you're looking it up.
Okay, Chairman, the house to the right of the subject property is preliminary. So all of the determinations made in the landmark report are preliminary staff determinations. They are not binding on the Landmarks Commission or City Council. And the final determination on any properties contributing or non-contributing status is made by the commission only at the time when somebody applies to demolish the building.
We don't know. Okay.
So the one to the right, I believe the preliminary determination is contributing. And the distinction with that building compared to the subject property is it has on its exterior what's called permastone, which is a 1960s product that was applied to buildings to kind of update them. It is likely that underneath that product, the actual original facade would have been brick, which is clearly distinct from the subject property where we know for sure, based on historic fire insurance maps, that the subject property is a wood frame building.
Okay. All right. Next question, and this is just for the benefit of our committee members. If this building were to be demolished, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, that any new building permit would have to conform to the landmark characteristics of this district.
That's correct, Chairman.
Okay.
Any new building would need to be reviewed by the Landmarks Commission for compatibility with the rest of the district.
All right. Those are my questions. Alderwoman Carrie Austin has her hand up. Carrie?
Chairman, I think Alderman Lopez confused me. I thought he was going to be voting with the family. So let me understand this.
Well, wait, Carrie, he is voting with the family. The family would like the building demolished.
Okay.
So they are in agreement.
All right, that's what I wanted to know, because I want to be in agreement with the family.
All right. All right.
Thank
Any other? Thank you, Carrie. Any other questions, comments? All right. Then can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum? And let me summarize the vote. If you vote yes, then you are supporting the demolition of this and the recommendation of the Department of Planning and the Landmarks Commission. If you obviously vote no, then you are in support of not demolishing this building and also this proposing the support of Alderman Laspada, the local alderman. All right? So we're going to do a roll call on this. Any questions before we start the roll? All right. Vice Chair Raboyes.
Yes.
Alderman Hopkins.
No.
Alderman Pat Dowell. Alderman Sawyer. Alderman Beal.
Yep.
Alderman Raymond Lopez.
Clarified, yes.
Alderman David Moore. Alderman Mike Rodriguez. He wasn't here for a quorum, right? Alderman Cicho Lopez. Alderman Burnett. Alderman Cardona.
Yes.
Alderman Wagasback. Alderman Kerry Austin. Kerry, we just heard from you.
Yes.
Thank you. Alderman Villegas.
Yes.
Alderman Riley. Alderman Kappelman.
Yes.
Alderman Osterman. Alderman Haddon.
Yes.
Chairman Tunney is a yes.
Sawyer is a yes.
Sawyer is a yes.
Alderman Burnett is a yes.
I'm sorry, is that Alderman Burnett?
Yes.
Could you restate your position, please?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, anybody else?
Alderman Riley's here. Alderman Riley's a yes.
Okay, last call. All right, we have staff, what do we have?
12 yeas, 1 nay.
12 yeas and 1 nay. This item is passed and will refer to the full city council on Wednesday. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Now we'll.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you
All
for
right.
your time.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right now. All right. What are we at? What page are we on?
We're in the bottom of page.
Bottom of 4. Okay, moving to the bottom of page 4. We have large signs over 100 square feet in area, 24 feet above grade. We will hear them all together. I'll read the ward, followed by the address, and take a motion at the end. We'll start in the 4th ward, one sign located at 300 South State Street. Moving on to the 17th ward, one sign located at 7535 South Ashland Avenue. Then 2 in the 42nd ward, one located at 42 South State, and the second in the 42nd ward at 150 North Dearborn. Do I have any questions by question by committee members? If not, do I hear a motion to move
So
to
moved.
pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved.
Alderman Beal makes the motion. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, these orders are passed. All right, now we'll move on to the regular agenda. In an effort to minimize technical difficulties and to ensure the committee meeting runs as smoothly as possible, the typical order in which items will be heard has been updated. Throughout the duration of virtual Committee on Zoning meetings, items will be grouped together according to witness attorney and will be heard in that order rather than in the ward order. All right. So we're on page 1 of the revised agenda, I guess?
Correct.
Okay.
See if Spizzato done. I don't see him, so I'll call him.
All right, we're gonna skip the first item on page 1 because Alderman Spizzato is not with us yet. I will move to the middle of page 1. Aldermanic 8739 in the 27th ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. The common address 606 through 636 West Blackhawk Street, 1500 through 1530 North Larrabee Street, 1545 North Larrabee Street, 1500 through 1525 North Frontier Street, and 625 through 643 West Weed Street. The change request from an RT4 residential 2-flat townhouse and multi-unit district to a POS 1 Parks and Open Space District. Alderman Walter Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This is a
Walter, you're freezing up a little bit.
Am I okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a school area over in the Cabrini Green area near North High School that the CHA acquired. Then they turned it over to the Park District, and we're keeping an open space, but the Park District is putting a new park over there. We're paying for it with the TIF. It abuts myself and Alderman Hopkins. The community is really looking forward to it. We're also looking to get some additional space from Alderman Hopkins area by the L track. So this zoning would allow for the Park District to do their due diligence to build a park, which is also going to have a dog park in it. Now, as for the committee support on this, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any questions by committee members on this aldermanic? If not, can I get a motion to move due pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved, Alderwoman Hayden.
All right, I'm going to give Alderman Hopkins that one since it's there's some work to be done with him. Moves due pass. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. Again, we'll go back to Alderman Spizzato when he's available later in this meeting. Top of page 2. Document number 20958 in the 36th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 6847 through 6851 West Belmont Avenue. And the change request from a B31 community shopping district to a B22 neighborhood mixed use district. Mark Kupiec.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mark Kupiec. I'm an attorney with offices at 77 West Washington. I represent the applicant. This case involves a property 6847-51 West Belmont Avenue. We're asking to rezone it from a B31 to a B2-2. And the purpose is to build 2 new 3-story residential buildings, 4 units each for a total of 8 units. The idea behind this one is that this stretch of Belmont Avenue already has a lot of residential development. If we're looking west of the subject property, the next block west has some 6 flats. And if we look actually west of Newland, actually that block is mostly zoned R4 with residential development. Probably the situation most similar to this is going east, the east of the subject property. If we go to Natoma, and that intersection in Natoma, years ago, there was a zoning change, rezoning to B2-2, same district that we're asking for here. And on that stretch of Belmont near Natoma, there were 15 3-story buildings built after that particular zoning change. So the idea is there's a lot of residential development, not a good spot for commercial development at this time at the subject property. Of the older buildings that do have commercial storefronts, there are a lot of vacancies. So the concern was if you build commercial at this spot, you would not be able to use it or rent it. The applicant did talk to his next door neighbors with respect to the development, got a letter of support that was forwarded to the alderman. Also talked to the owners of the property across the street who had no objection to the plan. So this research and information was forwarded to the alderman, and we asked him for his support, and hopefully you received a letter from him.
Mark, we do have a letter from Alderman Villegas. I'm not sure he's on the call still. Alderman Villegas, would you like to speak on this item? Nope, he's already left the call, but we do have a letter of support from Alderman Villegas on this application. Any questions from committee members? Hearing none, can I get a motion to move due pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
Here, so moves.
That is Alderman Sawyer. Any objections to Alderman Sawyer's motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. All right, middle of page 2. Document number 20953 in the 35th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 3821 West Montrose Avenue. and the change request from a B31 Community Shopping District to C12 Neighborhood Commercial District. We have Fred Augustin on this one.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fred Augustin. I'm the attorney on this matter. I'm here today on behalf of the applicant, 3821 West Montrose LLLP. The applicant is the owner of the property. It's currently improved with a 3-story mixed-use building.
Fred.
Yeah.
We're only seeing your eyes up. You have a way to, yeah. Okay, good enough.
Sorry about that.
Okay, continue on, please.
Yeah. So before we proceed, Mr. Chairman, we originally filed a type 2 zoning amendment application. I'd like to amend the application to make it a type 1 with narrative and plans, and I did submit those items to the Department of Zoning and the Committee on Zoning. So I would like to amend the application from a type 2 to a type 1.
Okay, so Alderwoman Marie Hadden moves to amend the application to a type 1 application by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to her motion? Hearing none, the item is now a type 1 application. Fred, continue.
All right. So we're here today seeking to rezone the property from the current designation of the B31 Community Shopping District to a C12 Neighborhood Commercial District. The existing 3-story mixed-use building will remain. The reason for this change is to allow the owner to build a rear 1-story addition in order to expand the ground floor commercial space. The owner currently operates his general contracting remodeling business within the space, so the addition will allow him to expand his office. We have worked with Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa and his office on this matter. You should have a letter of support in your file. Otherwise, I'm here to answer any questions the committee may have.
Fred, we do have a letter of support from Alderman Ramirez Rosa. And my initial question was answered by the department, but just for the clarification of the committee, the need for C in this is because contracting business is a little bit more elaborate than the B uses. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I worked on that with the Department of Zoning prior to filing the application.
Okay. All right. Questions, comments? All right. Can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved, Alderwoman Hadden.
Alderwoman Hadden makes the motion. Any objections to her motion? Hearing none, this item is passed as amended to the type 1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. All right. Bottom of page 2, document number 20945, the 29th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 3114 through 3120 North Alcott Avenue. Change request from an RS2 residential single unit detached house district to an RS3 residential single unit detached house district. And we have Dean Maragos on the call on this item in the 29th Ward. Dean?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
We can, Dean. Proceed.
Good. Thank you very much. My name is Dean T. Maragos of the law firm of Maragos and Maragos, located at 1 North LaSalle Street, and I represent the applicant, Alexander Zarni. This purpose for this zoning change is to allow the subdivision of 1 lot into 2 zoning lots. The applicant will build two-story single-family houses with a basement in each building. There will be a 2-car parking garage on each lot. The building height is 25 feet per building. We have been working with Alderman Taliaferro's office and the community as requested, and we are here to ask the committee if they have any questions. I'd be glad to answer them. We have been given a letter of support, strong support, from Alderman Taliaferro dated February 2, 2022, Mr. Chairman.
Dean, we have received the letter from Alderman Taliaferro. Any questions, comments from committee members? Hearing none, can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved, Chairman.
Alderman Vice Chair Raboyes makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, this item is passed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members
All
of
right,
the
Dean.
committee.
Thank you, sir. Top of page 3, from members of the zoning committee. We had a lot of public testimony on this item in the 21st ward. This was the banquet hall. And staff tells me that there's been a number of petitions and letters of opposition that's been part of your agenda, in your packet, I should say. All right, so let me read it into the record. Document number 20944, 21st ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address 8532 South Ashland Avenue. And the change request from a B11 neighborhood shopping district to a B32 community shopping district. Again, we have Dean Maragos on the call. Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, my name is Dean T. Maragos, the law firm of Maragos and Maragos. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, there's been a lot of misinformation about, unfortunately, that the objectors had stated. Let me give you the facts, and they're simply stated. This is a family banquet hall. The hours of operation are going to be from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. The operator, my client, Aquila Morgan, has for 3 years operated successful family banquets of this type, and she wanted to buy her own building and also to move forward to expand to only 80 people are going to be allowed at any given time on the premises. She's heavily invested in this neighborhood. She has spent close to $300,000 to do this project. She spent $240,000 for the building. It's a 3-story building, and $50,000 for an across the street parking lot to avoid any problems with congestion or parking. Concerning, as I said, this is a 3-story building. Concerning security, she has stated that she will have security cameras, armed guards, and outdoor lighting. There will be no liquor served on these premises at all, either by the client or by our establishment. Her family lives on the 2nd and 3rd stories of this building. She is strongly for full security to protect her family and the neighbors. As I stated, there will be no liquor served at all. She also, there will be no entertainment at all. This will be an establishment that is helping and support a young African-American woman to achieve her dream. And once again, I state the occupancy is only 80 people. Let's talk about the security force. She has worked for 2 years successfully in hiring the security forces held in the name of an operator called BARK, BARK.com. The system works that she calls BARK and they give her qualified, certified, armed security guards. And as I reiterate, she's been working with them for 2 years successfully. She also stated she will work with the community and police and attend the CAPS meetings. Alderman Brookins requested a community meeting on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on March 9th, 2022. We were ecstatic and very happy to attend, to work with the community and to tell them about our project. The Alderman's Chief of Staff conducted the meeting. It was a positive meeting, since many of the community members were in favor of community support for a young African-American woman entrepreneur in their neighborhood. After the meeting, the Alderman issued his letter of support, strong letter of support from the zoning change from B11 to B32 with successful issues concerning security and protection of the community. I can't state enough that when we attended the meeting, many of the members of the community asked us on all these issues, and we successfully answered them. And many of the members, as I stated, were very much in favor of it, and we thought it was a positive meeting. And as I stated, the Alderman's Chief of Staff was there. Therefore, I asked this committee to vote for this zoning change. and I will take any questions. I'd be happy to answer.
All right, well, we have Alderman Howard Brookins on the call. Alderman Brookins, do you want to hear, there's a couple of hands up. Do you want to hear from them first and then make the
Sure.
concluding remarks? And
Sure.
be available for questions because maybe they'll have a question for you
Yep.
and also the attorney. So we'll start with Alderman Sawyer.
Thank you, Chairman. And again, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Counselor. Did I hear correctly during the public comment and maybe during some of the statements that this area was voted dry?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Anybody know?
Hold on. Wait. All right, hold on. The question that Alderman Sawyer asked, and that would maybe go right to the Alderman first, because he would know the subject property on Ashland. Is that in a moratorium or a vote? I'm sorry, the precinct voted dry. There was comments that there was a lot of work from the community to vote the precinct dry. Howard, can you answer that question?
I'm not sure if this precinct is dry, but this is for this committee's understanding. This is not a request for a liquor license. This is not a request for a PPA. This is a request for a zoning change. We have no desire and have not discussed, or is it on the table to have a liquor license for this particular establishment? But there are no liquor stores on that side, so it could quite possibly already be dry. I just don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Okay, again, this is the zoning hearing. But I think we've heard loud and clear from the alderman that no liquor license would be considered. But the other question is, I think some of the public comment was a BYO kind of establishment.
And Chairman, the reason I was asking that question was to support that. If there was in fact voted dry, there could not be a BYOB situation there because you cannot bring liquor into a voted dry area under any circumstance. So if there was, I thought that the community was a little misinformed maybe, if assuming that it was voted dry, that there could be liquor there in the first place. That's the reason I was asking. So it's actually in support of what we're trying to do with no liquor. If it was voted dry, they can't bring liquor there in the first place. So the residents' concerns were kind of misguided if they thought that liquor would be on that allowed on premises if in fact was voted dry. And that was my.
And Dean, do you want to add to that? Because
Yes, I do, Chairman Tunney. Thank you very much, and thank you, Alderman Sawyer. My client is not going to allow any liquor at all, period, as a matter of management of this operation. And thank you very much, Alderman Sawyer. We are very, very protective of the community. And the Alderman Brookins has been very, very helpful in making sure that we protect the community as well as allow this young entrepreneur to succeed in her quest.
All right, Dean. All right, thank you. And Dean, I know in addition to your zoning acumen, you are a liquor attorney. In your research, could you answer the question whether this, because there were a number of speakers that said that they worked hard to vote this precinct dry in the public comment period. Does your knowledge suggest that this is a dry precinct?
The answer to the question is, since my client stated she wasn't going to serve liquor, I didn't do any due diligence on the vote dry.
Okay,
And
well, you might have future work to do. Okay, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Mike Rodriguez has his hand up. Alderman Rodriguez.
Oh, you know what, Chair? I think my questions have been answered. I just wanted to reiterate, I think it's important to have public input and engagement. And real public input and engagement. It sounds like the alderman's done that. And it also sounds like some of the concerns that Alderman Sawyer highlighted here are a bit unfounded on this matter. So, if there's no one further, I'd move to pass, Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Alderman Rodriguez. But before we entertain that motion, Alderman Brookins, do you have any final comment on it? I know you answered the question, but I don't know if it was
So
Anything else you wanted to put on the
There
record?
was a community meeting. We have no intent on making this a liquor establishment. The question is a good question, and the comment by Alderman Sawyer was great. That answer will be answered in affirmatively one way or the other before this matter is voted on, and to the extent that it is something that has not been expressed or communicated to the public, then we would ask this committee to hold it. But we will get back with their concerns. But we did have a community meeting about this, and they were for it before they were against it. And I just generally don't play games with people. If you go through the process and you have a meeting and the people at that meeting say we're okay with it, then to go back and talk to a couple other people to say now we're not okay with it is fundamentally unfair of the applicant.
All right, thank you, Howard. Before we take a motion, Steve Valenciano, do you want to? You got your hand up.
Yeah, Alderman Steve Valenciano, Department of Planning and Development, and I just checked on the city's site. This 85th Street from Ashland to Wood is voted dry. The ordinance was passed on July 24th, 2019.
Oh, relatively recently. Okay. All right. So, Alderman Brookins, you've heard that, right? So.
Right. So that means that they cannot. So the owner was correct, and the residents are misinformed. They cannot bring alcohol onto the premises.
Okay, so
pursuant to what Alderman Sawyer is saying.
Okay. All right. So, any more questions, comments from committee members? If not, can I get a motion to move due pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved, Alderwoman Haddon.
Alderwoman Haddon makes the motion. Any objections to her motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. All right.
Thank you, Mr.
Howard.
Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to page 1. I see my colleague, Alderman Spizzato, is on the call, and I'll read it into the record. Page 1, committee members, document number A8738 in the 38th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 5555 West Irving Park Road, and the change request from a C21 motor vehicle related district to a B11 neighborhood shopping district. Alderman Spizzato.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for letting me jump the line over here. I appreciate you accommodating me. It's a difficult task for all of us to juggle our schedules, as you know. Yeah, we're just down zoning this property. It's been it's not a problem property, but we've been trying to do some things here, and I just want to make sure that you know, we have say about what's going to go on over there. So I appreciate everybody's consideration.
Right. So future land use planning, is that correct, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. Questions for the alderman? Can I get a motion to move due pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved by Alderman Cardona.
Alderman Cardona makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed.
Thank you,
Nick.
Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. I appreciate you accommodating me.
All righty. Now we're on the back to the bottom of page 3. Document number 20956 in the 28th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. The common address is 2824 West Taylor Street. And the change request from a C12 neighborhood commercial district to B23 neighborhood mixed use district. We have Tamara Walker on this item in the 28th Ward.
Yes, good afternoon or good morning.
Good morning, I hope.
Yes, let's hope so.
Okay, continue tomorrow. Okay.
It's actually Tamara, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tamara.
No, you're fine, thank you. Good morning, Chairman Toomey and the members of the committee. As I just stated, my name is Tamara Walker, and I'm an attorney, the sole practitioner for Walker & Associates here in Chicago. Today, I'm here on behalf of—
Tamara, we're even. It's Tunny, so we're even. We're at square one.
There you go. There you go. All right. So noted, counsel. So noted.
Okay.
Okay. So the property is located at 2824 West Taylor Street in the 28th Ward. It's currently zoned as a C1-2 neighborhood commercial district. And the change that we're requesting is for a B2-3 neighborhood mixed use district. The property is improved with a 2-story with basement vacant brick commercial building on a 9,000 square foot lot. The applicant proposes to add an additional floor to the existing 2-story with basement brick building in order to establish a 3-story with basement. That's going to be an 11 dwelling unit building with 11 off-street parking spaces to the rear and the east sides of the existing building, with a new trash enclosure that will be along a new driveway that's going to be put onto the east side of the existing building. The change request from the B2-3 to the neighborhood mixed use, from the C1-2 to the B2-3 neighborhood mixed use would allow for the proposed use. The applicant also proposes to make interior and exterior improvements in order to bring the property into conformance with the city building code requirements for this change of use. And as far as support, the applicant has met with the alderman on 2 occasions, has their support for the application, and we request for the committee's approval of this application as well, to amend from the C1-2 to the B2-3.
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
Thank you.
All right, Alderman Jason Irvin on this item. Jason, are you on the call? All right, Ms. Walker, we do not have a letter of support from Alderman Irvin. Do you have one in your possession?
I do not, but I have notes that we are expecting one.
Okay, so what we'll try to reach out to his office. We're gonna put this on hold for a second.
Okay.
All right, because we haven't heard from the office whatsoever. I just have a quick question before this. Is there an alley on this property?
I don't have the survey in front of me. When you check back with me, Mr. Urban, let me confirm that. I don't want to misspeak. I know there was also an issue. I do want to put this on the record. There was an issue about affordable housing with this project. We were contacted by some people regarding that. And so there will be an affordable housing unit expected. Basic rent will range from $1,200 to $1,400 per month for the rest of the units. And I'll also get the details on the affordable housing price as well.
Okay, Ms. Walker. Again, we're going to put it on hold. We do have Anna Robles from the department. Question, Anna?
Alderman Tunney, just wanted to let you know there is an alley, public alley.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Appreciate it.
Okay. So my question is that we're doing a curb cut on Taylor, I presume, when there is an alley. Is that was my question.
Right. You're talking about adding the trash enclosure on the east side, or are you talking about?
No, when you have an alley, I don't know why you need a driveway. Does it sound like from your testimony, you need a driveway off of Taylor?
My understanding was it was existing. Let me confirm, because my notes actually have slightly different information. So I just want to make sure that I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, we'll give it some time. Okay. You'll hold with us and we'll get back to you. Okay.
About what time do you expect? So I can kind of.
Well, we got to hear from the alderman's office, so maybe we'll both try.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too long. We do not have that long of agenda. So.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. All right. So we're going to hold the item in the 28th ward momentarily. Now we're on the top of page 4. Document number 20955, 25th ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address 401 South Wacker Drive, also 300 West Van Buren Street. Change request from Plan Development number 579 to DC 16 Downtown Core District. We have Katie Jenke-Dale on the item in the 25th ward.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, Katie Jenke-Dale from the law firm of DLA Piper, which represents the applicant 401 South Wacker Associates LLC. This is an existing PD that was originally approved in 1995 and last amended in 2002. The development contemplated by the PD and the amendment never moved forward, but the PD, which would have sunset in 2008, was never formally sunset and returned to the previous zoning. The proposal today is to do just that and rezone the property to the previous zoning, the DC 16 Downtown Core District, to allow for the construction of an approximately 35-story commercial building with 80 parking spaces. The overall project will comply with that underlying and pre-existing zoning. The development team worked with Alderman Cicho Lopez and the 25th Ward Zoning Advisory Board We also participated in a meeting with the closest residential building last July prior to filing this application. As part of this process, the team has committed to working with the Alderman's office and the ZAB to keep them and the community apprised of upcoming construction job opportunities for local and minority contractors. I'm available for any questions and request your favorable recommendation on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. We have Alderman Cicho Lopez. Byron, you want to speak on this item in your ward, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Katie, for describing the project. Again, this was a little on hold. Just due to the pandemic, I think some things got held back. We participated, as Katie mentioned, with the community. We notified the community. We have the zoning advisory board in support of this item, and we will be working together to continue to notify residents on the future development of this site, as well as the local hiring component that was an important aspect of this project. So I'll ask my colleagues for a favorable support of this item. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman. Any questions, comments for this item in the 25th Ward? Ms. Robles, Anna, do you have your hand up again?
Yes.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chairman, I just wanted to point out that the attorney in your office caught a error in the address. It should be 301 as opposed to 300 West Van Buren, and that should be corrected.
All right. So let me read that into the record so we can change that address. So the common address for application number 20955 in the 25th Ward, 401 South Wacker Drive, 301 West Van Buren Street. So that is a change with that. Everyone's agreed to that? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Any more questions, comments? If not, can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved by Alderman Cardona.
Alderman Cardona makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. All right. Now, I'm going to go back just for the benefit of Ms. Walker. Ms. Walker, can you get back on the line, please? All right. Ms. Walker, can you unmute yourself, because we have heard from Alderman Irvin's office. All right. All right. Well, we'll find her sooner or later, but we're going to hold this item at the request of Alderman Irvin. So I just wanted to make sure that Ms. Walker knew that as soon as possible. All right. So now we're in the middle of page. We'll wait till I hear from Ms. Walker before we actually formally do that.
Yeah, we'll defer it.
Okay.
And you're middle of the.
Okay, middle of page 4, document number 20853, 27th Ward. Ordinance was referred on October 14th of 21. This address, common address, is 360 North Green Street. Change request from business plan development number 1407 to business plan development number 1407 as amended. Again, we have Katie Janke Dale on this in the 27th Ward.
Thank you again. For the record, Katie Janke Dale from the law firm of DLA Piper, which represents 360 North Green LLC, which is an affiliate of Sterling Bay. As a preliminary matter, this application was considered and recommended for approval at the March 17th, 2022 Plan Commission hearing. We would request that the transcript from that hearing be incorporated into the record today.
So Alderman Cardona moves to incorporate the records from the Plan Commission by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to his motion? None? Okay. Records are incorporated. Continue, please.
Thanks. You can incorporate or advance to the next slide. The property is located on the west side of Green between the at-grade Metro Tracks and Kinsey. It's currently zoned PD 1407, which was originally approved in March 2018. You can go to the next slide. The applicant is requesting the rezoning to amend the PD to accommodate a modified design that is needed to meet changing tenant demand. The overall floor area will not change. The revised design also will increase the previously approved open space by approximately 30% and will still generate over 4.4 million in neighborhood opportunity bonus contributions and over 750,000 in industrial conversion fees. The project team worked closely with Alderman Burnett, the various community groups, and DPD on this project. I want to thank them for their work on this. Again, we're available for any questions, but thank you for your time and consideration.
All right, Katie, Alderman Burnett, would you like to comment on this item, please? We don't have a letter of support from him? Okay. All right, Katie, he did, obviously, he supported this in Plan Commission. He's not on the call immediately, but just for the edification, what are the changes in that you're, obviously FAR is not changing, but tell us what some of the, I would say, changed amenities are, or the floor plates, or the mechanical, or whatever.
Absolutely. So if you go backwards one slide to the site plan, basically the building has gotten narrower and skinnier. So there used to be much less open space on the south end of the site plan. This was kind of a shift to in-tenant demand that we've noticed over the last 4 years. We used to be looking at very large kind of boxy floor plates. And now we're getting more professional service providers in this neighborhood who don't need those large bulky floor plates. So the parking has shifted slightly. We're at 90 spaces now. It was previously at 115, and the height has grown slightly as well to accommodate that narrower, taller, skinnier floor plate as opposed to the previous approved project that was shorter with a fatter floor plate.
Okay. All right. Again, Alderman Burnett is not on the call right now, but as a member of Plan Commission, I know he has voiced his.
So I'm here. I apologize. Hold on.
Okay. All right, Walter, we're on 360 North Green on the past Plan Commission with your support. You wanted to comment on it?
Sure. Very exciting development. Went to the Plan Commission. As you know, everybody was so appreciative of the green space and open space that they offering in this area that don't have a lot of green space or open space. All of my community organizations supported, the West Loopgate, West Central, and now we had a community meeting and they supported. This is a breath of fresh air to this community. We supported. I asked for the committee to support it also. They're working with the community on jobs. It's going to bring people to the area and help all the other businesses. It's a win-win situation for the city.
All right, Walter. Any questions for the alderman or the applicant? If not, can I get a motion to move due pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum? Alderman Carrie Austin makes the motion. Any objections to her motion? Hearing none, this item is passed as revised.
Thank you.
Walter, keep trucking there, Walter, okay? Keep moving.
Trying to get skinny like you, man.
Yeah, because we're moving, we're still in your ward now, so stay with us. Bottom of page 4, document number 20786, 27th Ward ordinance was referred on July 21st of 2021. Common address is 1353 West Fulton, also 220 North Ada Street, and the change request from an M23 light industry district to a DX7 downtown mixed-use district, and then to a residential business plan development. Katie Janke Dale also on this application. Katie.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Katie Janke Dale from DLA Piper. We represent 1353 Partners LLC, which is an affiliate of SHAPAC Partners. This matter was also reviewed and considered by the Plan Commission last week on March 17th, 2022, and we'd request the transcript from that hearing be incorporated into the record today as well.
So Alderwoman Carrie Austin makes the motion to incorporate the records from the Plan Commission by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to her motion? Hearing none, the records are incorporated. If you would continue, Katie.
Thank you. Property shown here at the southwest corner of Fulton and Ada, and the request is to rezone from the current M23 to the DX7, then to a residential business plan development. This will allow the construction of a 314-foot building with up to 305 dwelling units and a minimum of 115 parking spaces. If you advance to the next slide, the building is shown. The next slide, sorry, the building is shown. The applicant will be providing 20% affordable units on site and making a payment of over 2.8 million into the Neighborhood Opportunity Bonus Fund. Just like the last one, the project team worked very closely with Alderman Burnett, Wilco, WCA, and now as well as DPD on the design. And we'd like to thank all of them for their time and work on this with us. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Otherwise, we respectfully request the committee's favorable recommendation. Thank you.
All right. Alderman Burnett. The item on Fulton and Ada, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, this is one of the ones that went through the design guidelines and the design committee for the Department of Planning. The community had initially approved a previous design, and then planning had them to redesign it, change some of the base, which is looks like community approved that also. Everyone's excited about the affordable housing that's coming from this project. We appreciate from this project and the other project, all of the Neighborhood Opportunity Funds money that's going to go to help the Invest Southwest and other communities throughout the city. We look forward to the jobs that's going to come from this and all of the new residents that's going to come to this area, as this is one of the projects in the Fort Market as West, as it helps to continue to enhance the western part of the city of Chicago. Thank you. The committee support on this. I supported, my community supported, all three organizations supported it. Thank you. And we had a community.
Thank you, Alderman. Any questions for the Alderman or the applicant? Hearing none, can I get a motion move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum? Alderman Cardona makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, this item is passed as revised. All right, now we're on the top of page 5. Document number 20911 in the 26th Ward. Ordinance was referred on January 26th of 2022. And the common address is 2933 West Division Street. The change request from an RS3 residential single unit detached house district and institutional plan development number 599 to C12 neighborhood commercial district, then to the plan development number 599 as amended. Katie Janke Dale in the 26th Ward, please.
Thank you. Again, Katie Janke Dale from law firm of DLA Piper, and we represent the applicant Humboldt Park Health for this application. This project was also approved by the Plan Commission, or recommended for approval by the Plan Commission last week on March 17th, 2022, when you request the transcript from the hearing be incorporated into the record for this matter as well.
Carrie Austin makes a motion to incorporate the records from the Plan Commission by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, the records are incorporated. If you would continue.
Thank you. Next slide. The subject site is located at the southwest corner of Division and Richmond, the south of Humboldt Park. Part of the property is currently within institutional plan development 599, and a small portion on the western end of the property is outside of it and owned by the applicant. The requested rezoning would bring that additional property into the PD, unify the underlying zoning, and approve construction of a 3-story wellness center with a pool, fitness center, community room, and outdoor terrace. This is in furtherance of the Humboldt Park Health Wellness District Master Plan that was adopted in 2018 and will be an amenity to this historically underserved community. It aims to be a beacon of health and wellness and a link between the hospital campus and the Humboldt Park community. The applicant has also committed to not only meet, but also exceed the city's hiring goals by close to double, with a commitment to 50% participation by MBs and 10% participation by WBs. The project team has worked closely with Alderman Maldonado and the various stakeholders in bringing this project to fruition. You should have a letter of support in the file from Alderman Maldonado, and he also spoke very positively about the project last Thursday. I'm available for any questions and appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I, as a member of Plan Commission, and just for the edification of our committee members, this is a pretty dramatic and architecturally stunning amenity for the Humboldt Park community. And I know Alderman Maldonado, who's not on the call, but very much been working on this for a long time and is super excited about it. Okay. Alderman Burnett. Walter, do you have a question on this item?
Yeah,
or
I would
comment?
just be remiss if I did not comment on this project. I saw it in the Plan Commission. Also, you know, this hospital group is doing a great job in the neighborhood, finding other ways to bring good health care to the neighborhood. This is a very beautiful design. It's ran by a Latino gentleman. The architect is Latino. A lot of the developers are Latino. I just want to say more power to you guys. This is fantastic, and congratulations to Alderman Maldonado.
Thank you, Alderman Burnett. I see no hands up, so Alderman Burnett makes the motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, this item is passed as revised. All right.
Only if he stops.
Right. Now, I'm just going to make another reach out. Is Ms. Walker on the call? She must have dropped off. Okay. Well, just so you know, commit.
Who did you ask for?
The attorney, Miss Tamara Walker. It was an item in the oh there, yeah. Miss Walker.
Hello, I'm sorry. I think my sound had cut out for a second. Can you hear me?
We can. We did make outreach to Alderman Irvin. He is not ready to sign off on the plan. He suggests that you call him ASAP so that we can move forward in a positive direction with you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I just want to get back to you in a timely manner. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Middle of page 5. Document number 20941 in the 24th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 4556 West Roosevelt Road, and the change request from an M22 light industry district to an M32 heavy industry district. Tim Barton in the 24th Ward. Tim Barton on this item.
There. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Tunney.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman Tunney, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tim Barton. I'm with the law firm of Thomas R. Raines Attorney at Law, LLC. I am representing Chicagoland Materials, LLC. Chicagoland Materials currently operates a landscape materials business for wholesale and retail sales. It now wants to be able to operate or to collect dirt, concrete, and brick and block from customers for pickup at the site and then shipping out to reprocessor. This would be an additional service for its customers, and it would only involve a small percentage of its operation. So the amendment is being sought to change the current zoning to establish a recycling facility class 5. The material to be collected is considered a type D recyclable material, which can only be handled in a class 5 facility. As part of its review, it will also require zoning board approval, zoning board of appeals approval. This is a 110 by 516.4 square foot parcel. It's improved with an existing one-story building, approximately 1,952 square feet, and also has an outdoor storage yard. This, the site is within the Roosevelt and Cicero Industrial Corridor. It's within the 24th Ward, and Alderman Scott has expressed his support for the rezoning, and the committee now has his letter. That's our testimony. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. We do have letter of support from Alderman Scott. Patrick Murphy, are you on the call here?
Yes, sir, Chairman.
Okay, just for the clarification with this application, it's recycling. It will be a recycling class 5 operation.
Yes, sir.
Given the environmental impact, as Mr. Barton has said, so the zoning is approved, but it would, if it passes the zoning, it also has to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Could you make sure that we understand the two-step process?
Right. So presuming passage today, then they would start, the applicant would enter into it's really a multi-departmental process to go through the air quality ordinance. So that would entail reviews by the Department of Transportation, concurrently with the Department of Public Health. There is a public meeting component. There is a posting of plans and analyses that are the responsibility of the applicant to provide to the city. Those are all publicly posted. There's a comment period that is open. So all of those reviews outside of zoning and the Zoning Board of Appeals need to take place by the applicant, presuming that both of those departments can support a project of some scope. Then that would be made in the form of a recommendation to the zoning staff. We would then have a review process that's outlined in the municipal code for site plan review, which would result in a recommendation either for or against the project to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Right. And as was stated by Mr. Barton, this is in an industrial corridor.
Yes, and all of those factors, the surrounding land uses, surrounding zoning, other activities, the buffering from sensitive uses would all be taken into consideration throughout the review.
Right. And then my staff asked, does this have to go to Plan Commission at some future point?
I am uncertain of the exact size. So if it does achieve a certain size threshold, or if there's certain proximity to sensitive uses, then it would trigger a PD instead of a special use.
Yeah. I was just saying sometimes when it's in an industrial corridor, it has to go through the industrial corridor review PD.
Well, so were this map amendment going to something other than M, then there would be a separate Plan Commission review just to get to this point. Okay. If the subsequent project triggers a PD, then that would be separate and apart from, they would have to come back to this action again.
All right.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry, who is that? Oh, Mr. Barton.
It's Tim Barton.
Yeah.
Point of clarification for the zoning administrator. This is just a little more, it's about a 1.3 acre site. And in addition, our understanding was that this did not have to go through the air quality ordinance steps due to the fact that it was more than 660 feet from the closest residential district. So that, with that point, does it in fact have to go through those additional steps that you just described?
Okay, if it does not trigger one of the proximity or size thresholds, then you are correct. I have not seen the site plan, so if that is the case, then that is true. Then you would not trigger those.
Yeah.
Okay. But you would have to provide all of that. We would review all that as you come in for your permit requests.
Sure. We submitted a survey and looked at that distance, and we documented that. So
okay. All right. Enough on that. We do have a question from Alderwoman Haddon.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Barton, I guess looking at this change and in even just hearing this conversation, I've got red flags going off, right? Okay. We've just gone through a 3-year process around another recycling facility. Is what's currently there? Could you just go over again, like what's, I know what the zoning use is there, but is there currently any recycling facility like in operation right now there?
No, good. Thank you very much for the question. Just to clarify, this is a landscape business, so it's for homeowners and contractors to purchase landscape materials. As a service, they are collecting. The extent of what they want to do is to collect materials, which they in turn, as a convenience for its customers, which they in turn will ship out for recycling. So there won't be any recycling at the site per se, it's just going to be collecting the materials there. And that would be clarified as part of the special use review.
And could you speak more as to the type of materials that required? I think you spoke generally that the type of materials require this from light industry to heavy industry. What types of materials might they be collecting and holding on site?
So it would be brick, concrete, and CMU, concrete block. So materials that are just typically found around residential and commercial buildings.
Gotcha. I don't know if Patrick Murphy, is it brick and concrete require heavy industrial use? I guess maybe just an edification for the committee of the difference between the light industrial and the heavy.
I'm sorry, Alderman. So there are, you mean the differences as it pertains to the air quality ordinance, or just in general from their operations?
Oh, no, not about the air quality ordinance. So we were talking about how the zoning change is required for them to store brick and concrete materials. And I was just asking, is that really requires a heavy based on our current code as opposed to the light? Like what's the thing that triggers the switch to the heavy industry?
The type of recycling process. So there are restrictions based on what they can store outside, but there are also restrictions on the zoning district you need for the type of, in this case, recycling operation. So they do need the they need the heavy manufacturing to accommodate the level of recycling that they're seeking.
Gotcha. But
regardless of the outdoor operation aspect.
Gotcha. Mr. Barton, you said there is no recycling that's going to happen there. So now I'm confused.
The material that they're collecting is classified as a type D material, and that can only be processed, well, collected in this case as part of the process within this heavy industry district, the M3-2.
But you've said there's no processing there, that they're only storing and then they're shipping this off somewhere else for processing.
Yeah.
So which is it?
Well, that was the interpretation that we received, that it had to go through in this heavy industry zoning in order to allow this use.
All right. So what I'm understanding is because of the materials that will be stored, is that whether or not they're recycled there or transferred, you have to move from an M22 to an M32 based on materials, not, and we're hearing that this is just more or less a transfer of these materials and not the recycling on site. Is that correct?
That's true. That is right.
Patrick?
I don't know all the. Go ahead, Alderman.
Chairman, no, it's sorry. This is Steve Valenziano with the Department of Planning and Development. These materials are being taken from other sites, construction demolition sites. These bricks and concrete, they're being brought into this site from various vendors across the city. They're put here. Then this entity will take them, separate them, bale them or palletize them, and then ship them out to other sites for further recycling or for reuse. So it fits the definition of recycling based on the types of materials that can come in under the Class D recyclable materials. It can include much more than brick or concrete, but those are two of the materials that can come in through a Class 5 recycling facility. It is controlled by a permit rather than a license through the Department of Health. So this is a recycling type facility. The fact that they're coming from offsite, being brought in here, you can think of it almost as a waste transfer station. So you have waste from demolition and construction sites, being brick and concrete is being testified to today. And then they're sorted, separated, and then shipped out for further reuse or further recycling or crushing.
All right, Alderwoman Hadden,
I think that clarifies. So even though when we talk about processing, this is because they're sorting, they're doing things that's considered processing, but it's not like industrial use in the way that a layperson might think. So that clarifies it for me. So thank you, Steve,
All right.
Patrick, and
Patrick, last comment on this.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, just going back to Tim's comment about the size. Tim, I believe, and we can talk about this separately, but the size and distance issues that you're referencing are still only related to your plan development trigger as opposed to the air quality reviews. So we can talk about this later, as this moves through the reviews, but the size and distance references you made were in regards to PD trigger applicability, not air quality applicability.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Good.
All right. Any other questions, comments from committee members? If not, can I get a motion to move do pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
Alderman Wagisback motion.
Alderman Wagisback makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. Obviously, more work to do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bottom of page 5. Document number 20952 T1 in the 17th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 747 through 757 West 79th Street. Also 7901 through 7909 South Halsted. We have Steve Friedland here in the 17th Ward.
Thank you, Alderman. For the record, my name is Steve Friedland. I'm an attorney with Applegate and Thorne Thompson here on behalf of Evergreen Imagine JV LLC. You can move to the next screen if you'd like. The applicant is a joint venture of Evergreen Development and Imagine Development. This is part of the city's Invest Southwest program. This joint venture was the successful applicant. The property that you're looking at, which is at the southeast corner of 79th and Halsted, is owned by the city of Chicago. And our proposal is to develop 30 units of residential housing with commercial and retail on the first floor with 14 parking spaces. This property is transit served. So, and because of the change in zoning from B1-1 to B3-3, it triggers a type 1. So we're looking at the type 1 drawings that we provided to you. I would note at this time that we have submitted a substitute narrative and plan. So we would want to make sure those are incorporated and taken in by the committee.
Just to accept the substantive narrative and plans for the type 1 application by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, we have the substantive narrative and plans before us. If you would continue.
Thank you. Again, maybe if you move through a couple of the drawings and get to one of the elevations, might be just like to see what the building's going to look like. All 30 of the units in the building will be affordable to people with 60% AMI. So this is a 100% affordable building along 79th Street. And we do have my client and architect on the line. If there's any questions, I think Alderman Moore is still in the meeting. I know that he's aware of this, but we have nothing further and take any questions you might have.
Steve, do you, Alderman Moore, are you on the call? I think he dropped off. Do you have this was not Plan Commission, right?
No, this was not Plan Commission, Alderman. This is a type 1.
All right. And you garnered the support of Alderman Moore, I presume?
We do. I know that my client has been in touch with the alderman. He's obviously well involved in the Invest Southwest project.
Yeah, since it's a city incorporated and a lot of effort gone into it, I'm going to make sure that we get the affirmative paperwork from Alderman Moore, but I'm still going to ask for a motion to approve this project. But before we do that, do we have any questions from committee members?
If there are no questions, Chairman, Sawyer moves to pass.
Okay, so Alderman Sawyer makes the motion to move due pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. And again, if I do, I will contact Alderman Moore prior to tomorrow to make sure that he's fine with it. Any objections to Alderman Sawyer's motion? Okay, hearing none, the item is passed with the substantive narrative and plans. Thank you, Steve, on that one.
Thank you, Alderman. I appreciate that.
All right, now we're on the top of page 6. Document number 20950 in the 16th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address 2504 West 63rd Street, and the change request from a B11 neighborhood shopping district to a C11 neighborhood commercial district. And Steve Friedland.
Yes, again, for the record, Steve Friedland with Applegate and Thorne Thompson, here on behalf of the applicant BrinSwap LLC. BrinSwap is a joint venture between the Southwest Organizing Project, the not-for-profit on the Southwest side that's been redeveloping the Southwest side, and Brinshore Development. The reason for this change, this is a parcel, it's a 3-story building. It's currently in a B1-1 zoning district. And it is made up of some retail and commercial space on the first floor and apartments above. There is a business that has grown up on the west side called Magnolia Screen Printing. And what they do, they're homegrown. They do art and screen printing in the city of Chicago. And that use actually falls into the commercial district uses. So they're not allowed to do this in a B district. So the request is to amend to a C1-1 so that Magnolia Printing, which by the way has a lot of support from the city of Chicago, economic help, and they will be moving into one of the commercial spaces to do screen printing if this passes. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, just a comment. The applicant, according to my record, is BrinSwap. You talked about Brinshore.
So the applicant is BrinSwap Roman numeral 2 LLC. That is a joint venture between Brinshore, which is the Brin part of it, and SWAP, which is the Southwest Organizing Project, which is a not-for-profit organization. So the two of them have gotten together and redeveloped a number of properties along 63rd. So that's what it's about.
Okay, but it's not the Brinshore housing.
Yes, it is. No, Alderman, it is because the housing that's on this property is tax credit housing.
Okay.
So Brinshore has worked with SWAP on a number of residential developments in that area as well.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Holman. Stephanie, you want to comment on this item, please? Alderwoman. Hold on a second.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if the alderman is on, but we do have a letter of support from her that was provided, but certainly if she's on.
Stephanie,
Steve, could you resend that? We currently can't open it in its.
are you
format.
okay with the 20? You have another one. All right. So Alderman Stephanie Coleman is in full support of this project. Do we have any questions, comments from committee members? If not, can I get a motion to move do pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
That is Vice Chair Raboyes makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. All right. Last but not least for Mr. Friedland, this is document number 20041, 32nd Ward. Ordinance was referred on May 29th of 19. Common address is 3150 North Racine. Change request M12 Limited Manufacturing Business Park District to a B25 Neighborhood Mixed Use District, and then to a plan development. Steve Friedland, please.
Yes, again, for the record, Steve Friedland with the law firm of Applegate Thorne Thompson, here on behalf of Bellray Limited Partnership. Bellray Limited Partnership is fully owned by Mercy Housing, and many of you know Mercy is a not-for-profit housing provider and really one of the nation's largest affordable housing organizations. This is a project where Mercy intends to redevelop one of their existing SRO buildings at 3150 North Racine. That building has been an affordable SRO development for many years. Mercy took it over in 1996, and it currently has 70 SRO units in it. The property, half of the property is improved with the building, and the other half of the property is a parking lot, a surface parking lot. What the proposal is to build a companion building next to the existing building, connect the two, and redevelop all of the old units and develop new units so that at the end of the day, we will have 86 affordable units, 81 of which would be SROs and 5 of which would be one-bedroom units. The project is proceeding as a planned development. We did appear before the Plan Commission last Thursday on March 17th, and this time it's probably appropriate to request that you incorporate the findings of record of the Plan Commission in the committee's meeting.
All right. Alderman Wagasback moves to incorporate the records of the Plan Commission by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to the motion?
I would.
Hearing none. Hold on. Hearing none. The records are now incorporated. Continue, Steve.
I'm sorry, I jumped the gun there, Alderman. As we stated at the Plan Commission, this project has taken a long time to get to this point, and we do owe thanks to the staff of the Department of Planning, Patrick Murphy, Noah Safranek, for helping guide us through some of the intricacies of the zoning ordinance, and then also Alderman Wagner, Alderman Tunney for working with us on getting the pedestrian street designation along Belmont. So this has taken a while to get here, but at the end of the day, there will be 86 units of affordable housing, and all of these units are really targeted to people with very low incomes. The majority of them are at the 30% AMI level, which is really very low income. So it's a great development for that purpose. With that, certainly take any questions you might have. Thank you.
All right, Alderman Wagasback on our shared boundary project.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. And as Steve Friedland mentioned, we did that P Street designation a few months ago. that kind of helped help us get this project in place, kind of the final piece. Originally, I think some people might have seen that Mercy applied for a lot more units, but I think between the tax credit funding and then going to instead of just studio types, expanding those so that made them a little bit larger, that reduced the size a little bit, as we talked about in the Plan Commission. This is as you know, Chairman, I think you have 3 sides of the corner there. And this has been just an excellent site for a lot of people to be able to get affordable housing. And then, as many of them have in the past, move on to purchase their own condos, or make sure that they have a good job in the neighborhood and be able to thrive there. So we definitely want to make sure that we're maintaining, rehabbing the units that are existing, reduce the parking just enough for some of the people there that have cars and staff, but really focused on adding these new units. So there was the one issue with the sign, and I think we're going to work on that. That sign was originally set up to provide a little bit of additional income, but I'm not really sure it's providing like it used to. And I think that was all I really had there, unless you wanted to have questions first. I would just ask for the favorable consideration of the committee members on this, as we did at the Plan Commission. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Wagasback. Alderman Burnett. Walter?
Yeah, so I think this is just too much affordable housing. Why are you putting, I'm just kidding,
We'll always take more.
I just want to commend both aldermen for allowing this sustainability, but also this expansion to be in you all's community. I commend both of you all. I know, sometimes community folks don't appreciate it, but folks find themselves. It's an interesting thing. I have an interesting thing going on in the West Loop. It used to be when I was first doing housing in my area, folks was kind of looking at me batty-eyed. Now, the same people who've been living there for a long time is like, is there anything affordable? Because they pricing me out of the neighborhood. So, so now people appreciate affordability now even more so, and they figured out that it helps regular folks who work and live in the community. So congratulations, my kudos to all of you all, and also thank you.
Thank you, Walter.
Chairman, yeah, Chairman, I don't know if you wanted to comment on it too, because your comments at Plan Commission about, the neighborhood group there, the surrounding groups, that South Lakeview neighbors, they were in favor of it right off the bat. And I think they were very encouraging on this project to really make sure that it got done.
Thank you. And I will comment because, as Chairman Burnett said, it's very difficult to find opportunities for affordability in Lakeview at large. And this project obviously was done in the 90s, I believe. It was an old SRO, and has been run well, and obviously has been a benefit not only to the residents, but to really try to keep at least some diversity of income in our neighborhood for working class people and such. So, this expansion is met in not only in South Lakeview, but Lakeview in general as one of the, rare opportunities to be able to expand housing for the, and for the, I would say the 30% AMI, which is almost unheard of, to be able to do this in our community. So I know you did a lot of the legwork with South Lakeview, but we were cheering you on from the other 3 sides of Lakeview, and look forward to this. I've been on Belmont my whole life, and actually I didn't really see a lot of parking in that lot. So it'll be nice to get these additional units in perpetuity. So kudos to the team and also to your leadership on this issue. So with that, I'm going to ask, are you making the motion, Scott?
No, I think someone else should, but I think I just wanted to thank your staff too, because I know they were out there walking with us. You were too. So you know,
Yep.
making sure.
It's a team
joint
effort.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right, can I get a motion move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So move.
Rodriguez, so move.
Alderman Rodriguez makes the motion. Move to pass. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, this item is passed as revised. Okay, all right, bottom of page
Thanks, Steve.
6. Document number 20949, in the 16th Ward, ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 22. Common address of this one is 5927 South California Avenue, and the change request from an RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RT4 residential 2-flat townhouse and multi-unit district. We have Robert Martinez in the 16th Ward application. Mr. Martinez.
Good morning, Chairman. This is Attorney Robert Martinez with law offices at 4115 West 26th Street. I am here on behalf of the applicant, Ms. Miriam Martinez and Mario Ledesma. This property is a 2-unit, which is currently improved with a 2-unit building at an RS3 zone district. We are seeking to amend the zoning district to an RT4, so that way the homeowner may utilize the basement. The basement is above grade, and they are entitled to the zoning. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to communicate is that there are 3 parking spaces. This is a 30-foot lot as to the width. And with that, even if they didn't have the 3rd parking space, pursuant to the zoning code, they should be granted the additional 3rd unit, because the parking requirements do not apply so long as 2 or less units are being added to the building.
All right, so the issue was we're upzoning to add a 3rd unit. There's obviously the width of the lot, 3 parking spaces, that's not an issue. Is that a correct summation of the request?
Yes, just to reiterate, we're at a RS3 now, which does not allow for 3 units. So the only reason why we need an RT4 is that way we may have the 3 units. And the basement is suited for it because there's means of egress. Obviously, there's plans provided by an architect, and it's verified that it will go through the building department.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Martinez. Alderwoman Holman, are you still on? I know we talked just recently that she is in support of it. Would you like to say a few words if she's still on the call? No. All right, well.
Hi, Chair. This is Brandon Bradford, Alderman Coleman's Chief of Staff. She's in support of this as well as the other item as well.
Right. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions, comments from committee members? Hearing none, can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
Move to pass, Chairman.
I'll move by Alderman Cardona.
Alderman Wagisback makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, this item is passed. All right, top of page 7. Document number 20957 T1, First Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address 2516 West Thomas Street. Change request from an RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RM 4.5 residential multi-unit district. We have Rich Toth on the line. Rich. Hello.
Sorry, I was being promoted. Can you hear me now?
We can. Richard, you want to identify yourself, please, and talk about West Thomas Street?
Chairman, he's still moving in from attendee to panelist. It's just taking him a long time.
Richard, can you hear us? If so, we'd like to start.
I can. Thank you. I was sitting here trying, but I was going through that promotion process. Thank
Okay.
you. Good afternoon, Chairman Tunney, members of the committee. My name is Rich Toth. I'm an attorney appearing on behalf of the applicant, Make It Beautiful LLC, regarding this application, which does seek a zoning change from RS3 to RM 4.5. It's somewhat similar to your last matter, in that we're adding a dwelling unit. The subject property has an existing 2 dwelling unit home. The house is in very rough shape. So the applicant proposes to rehab the building. That includes a new rear addition, expanding the attic level, and of course, achieving the addition of a new dwelling unit. It's a type 1 application. We did provide the department and the committee with a substitute narrative and plans, which does include some minor dimensioning corrections and adjustments. So I appreciate if you can incorporate that.
Okay, so Alderman Cardona moves to accept the substantive narrative and plans for the type 1 application by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the substantive narrative and plans are before us.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Chairman. So again, we're adjusting this zoning for the minimum lot area per unit to allow the addition of an additional dwelling unit. Alderman Laspada was kind enough to provide a letter of support for the project. I believe the committee has a copy of that letter of support. I know he was on the call earlier. I'm not sure that he's still on. But subject
We have
to
a
the-
letter, we do have a letter of support from Alderman Laspada.
Wonderful,
All right.
thank you. So subject to the,
I have a question, though.
of course,
So you're going from a 2-unit to a 3-unit.
Correct.
Is there a unique size of the lot that can't be done in an R4 versus an R4.5?
so it's a function of the minimum lot area per unit requirements. The S3 would not allow the 3 units. By making this change, we are we're changing the minimum lot area per unit minimum, so that would facilitate a 3rd unit.
I get the upzoning, but I don't understand why it couldn't be done in R4.
I think the lot is just a tad undersized, and so we're just under 3,000 square feet. So we're
right
in need of the RT 4.5. It is, of course, a type 1 rezoning as well. So we will abide by the new plans. The FAR is only going to be 1.15.
Okay, it's a type 1 though, so we
It is a type 1.
We get what
Exactly.
you put on paper. All right. Otherwise,
Yes.
you'll come back and see us. All right.
Not necessarily.
Any other questions, comments in the first ward application? Hearing none, can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved, Alderman Cardona.
Alderman Cardona makes the motion. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, this item is passed with the substantive narrative and plans. Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Mr. Chairman.
Middle of page 7, document number 20947, T1, also in the first ward. The ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 1637 West Huron Street, and the change request from an RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RM5 residential multi-unit district. Andrew Scott.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Andrew Scott with the law offices of Dyke and Gossett. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, the property is currently zoned RS3. It's an approximately 3,000 square foot lot. It is improved with an existing 6-unit building. The purpose of the rezoning to RM5 is to gain the additional FAR that's necessary in order to add a conversion unit in the attic space of this building. There are no proposed changes to the envelope of the building, any of the exterior, other than to improve the appearance. But it's solely to add an additional unit that will allow it to be a dwelling unit as opposed to attic space today. So we needed the FAR. It is a type 2 rezoning. It provides that, again, no changes will be made to the outside. The FAR is slightly under what's permitted in the RM5 district. We have been in touch with the alderman, and I believe you have a letter on file from him with respect to the request, and I'm available to answer any questions.
We do have a letter of support from Alderman LaSpada. Just a quick question, how many parking spaces are going to be on this property?
So because it's being done as a conversion unit, there are 3 today. That's the way it's existed for years, and there will be 3 afterwards. There's not an additional space required under the conversion unit ordinance.
All right. Questions, comments from committee members? Hearing none, can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum? Alderman Wagasback makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Bottom of page 7, again in the first ward, document number 20946. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address 1509 West Fry Street, and the change request from an RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RM 4.5 residential multi-unit district. Did I see Tom Kuparski on the call? Tom? You want to unmute, Tom? Tom Pekarsky, you need to unmute. You look good, but we can't hear you, Tom. Try it now, Tom.
Try it with headphones if you have it.
Try it with headphones.
Mr. Pekarsky, either you can, if you know how to switch your microphone to your correct microphone in Zoom, otherwise you can exit and rejoin the meeting. That usually solves the problem. Chairman is leaving and will rejoin.
All right, so we'll give it we'll come back to that one, please. So now we're going to go, where are we going? Middle of page 8. Document number 20942 T1 in the first ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022, and the common address 1228 through 1230 North Milwaukee Avenue, also 1210 through 1214 North Ashland Avenue, and the change request from B13 Neighborhood Shopping District to a C13 Neighborhood Commercial District. We have Tom Murphy on the call in the first ward. Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I represent the applicant who is a social equity cannabis dispensary. This is a program that's initiated and supported by the state to broaden the participation in the cannabis industry. And this will be the first social equity applicant, if approved, to open in the city. As you know, there will be a zoning board of appeals hearing as well for adult use cannabis dispensary. This is voluntary type 1 zoning change. We do have the support of the community and the alderman. A letter was submitted to the committee. And if you wish, I have Janae Moreno, who is the principal member of the LLC and social equity applicant, if you choose to hear from her.
Well, we'll see what the wish of the committee is. Any questions, comments from committee members?
Yes.
All right, this Alderman Burnett, please.
Yeah, Alderman Burnett. One, I just want to say that I support this, especially if the aldermen do. Janae is a good person. I've been in the trenches for a long time. Matter of fact, she was one of the folks who worked with me on the ARO ordinance when she was working for the Rehab Network. And so, and after that, she went on to work for State Representative Art Turner and went on to do her restaurant business. She actually was working with Dispensary 33 in my ward and got a component of that. She has experience in the cannabis business. And I think this would be great for her to have her own place. So I support this 100%. I'm very proud of her. Thank you.
All right, Alderman Mike Rodriguez, and thank you, Walter, for the backstory on that. Mike?
Chairman, thank you so much, and forgive me, I've got our Supreme Court hearing, Supreme Court Justice nomination hearing on the background, if you hear that. I would like to take you up on an offer, Chairman, to hear from the applicant. I think given the gravity of the situation and in which Mr. Murphy, Councilor Murphy, talked about this being the first social equity applicant to move in this direction, I think it would be appropriate to hear from the applicants, and I certainly support this endeavor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Murphy, I think Ms. Moreno, I think, was the applicant. Can we hear from her?
Yes, I think your staff would have to promote her.
She can speak according to our.
Good morning, everyone. This is Janae Moreno. Can you hear me?
We can. Good morning. You have a colorful background in your apartment or your unit. So
thank you. Thank you.
Let's
Lots
talk
of
about
plans
the
of-
cannabis and in the first ward, please.
Yes, I'm not sure what direct information the committee needs, but again, thank you, Alderman Burnett, for sharing a bit of my backstory. I will tell you that the location has a lot of history for me. Upon moving into the city of Chicago as a young married couple, me and my children lived in the area in Bickerdike housing. Back then, the YMCA and where that building is located was the LAF, who provide a lot of services to me and my family then, as well as the currency exchange when I was on public aid. Back then, we called it public aid, and had to go to that currency exchange to receive my check and all that good stuff. Next door to that, where the CVS is located now, it was the first bank that allowed public aid recipients to start checking accounts. And again, those kind of community growth, community opportunities. Today, I will tell you, to have the opportunity to open a business there it's beyond just wealth creation, but also very connected to the history of success that community has provided over time for a family like mine. I am pleased to be here, and if there's any direct question, I am more than happy to answer.
I don't see, Alderman Rodriguez, are you, would like to comment to Ms. Moreno?
Yeah, just briefly, I just want to congratulate you, Ms. Moreno, on this endeavor. And your story is an amazing one. And I'm really excited about your business and support it wholeheartedly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
Alderman Villegas, so moves.
Alderman Villegas makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you.
members of the committee.
Give me a call. Give Walter.
All right.
All right, now, what are we doing? Okay, so let's do a mic check. Mr. Pekarsky.
Can you hear me?
Woo. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Okay, so I'm going to read it back into the record. We're on the bottom of page 7. In the first ward, document number 20946. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 1509 West Fry Street, and the change request from an RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RM 4.5 residential multi-unit district. Tom Pekarsky.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thanks for re-inviting me to this.
to speak about this project. I am Tom Pekarsky of the law firm of Gordon and Pekarsky, and before I begin my case in chief, I would like to request that this application be amended to a voluntary type 1. I provided the department and the committee with narrative and plans in advance of the hearing, so I would ask that it be accepted and voted on by the committee to treat this as.
Alderman Villegas moves to amend this application to a type 1 application by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, we now have a type 1 application in front of us. You can continue.
Thank you. Before you this morning, seeking an amendment of the City of Chicago zoning map from the current RS3 to that of an RM 4.5 for the property commonly known as 1509 West Fry Street. The subject property is a standard city lot with dimensions of 25 by 125. Currently improved with a 3-unit residential building. The applicant seeks to renovate the existing building, including adding a rooftop deck and access penthouse above the 3rd floor. The building will maintain the existing 3 residential dwelling units. The multi-unit building is non-conforming in an RS3 district, necessitating the request in order to improve the building as proposed. We have reviewed our plans with Alderman LaSpada as well as the community, and Alderman LaSpada, if he is not here, has previously provided a letter of support for the proposal to the chairman. Therefore, we would ask the committee to vote its recommendation of passage of the application to the floor.
We have received a letter of support from Alderman LaSpada. And are there any questions or comments from committee members? If not, can I get a motion to move do pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved by Alderman Cardona.
Alderman Cardona makes the motion. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, the item is passed as amended under the type 1 application.
Thank you.
All right, now we are top of page 8, document number 20847 in the 25th Ward. Ordinance was referred on October 14th of 21. Common address is 1930 West 21st Street, and the change request from a C12 neighborhood commercial district to a B23 neighborhood mixed use district. Tom Pekarsky in the 25th Ward.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. I am Tom Pekarsky of the law firm of Gordon and Pekarsky. Before you on this matter, seeking an amendment of the City of Chicago zoning map from the current C12 to that of a B23 for the property commonly known as 1930 West 21st Street. Subject property is again a standard city lot with dimensions of approximately 25 by 125 feet. Currently improved with a 3 residential unit building. The applicant seeks to renovate the existing building and increase the density by 1 unit by converting the existing space that has been traditionally used as a storefront. The amendment will allow both the proposed density and ground floor residences. Property is within a TOD area, so the slightly increased density, both anticipated by the neighborhood and the city, and easily absorbed. We've reviewed our plans with Alderman Sigcho Lopez, as well as his 25th Ward Advisory Board. I see that Alderman is here, so he has previously provided a letter of support, but always welcome him to speak on it as well. And therefore, we would ask the committee to vote its recommendation of passage of the application to the.
All right. Alderman Sigcho Lopez. Byron, do you want to comment on this item on 21st Street, please?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, very briefly, and thank you to the applicant working with our zoning advisory board and our community. This is an owner-occupied property. The change is minor for a 212 to a B23, so they can renovate and add a unit. Or zoning advisory review, and we're happy to support this small homeowner on this request. And I hope my colleagues I have a favorable support to this item. Thank you, Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Alderman. Any questions for the applicant or the Alderman? If not, can I get a motion to move do pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum?
So moved by Alderman Cardona.
Alderman Cardona makes the motion. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, the item is passed. All right.
Thank you.
Um,
Have a good
thank you,
afternoon.
Tom. All right, now we're on the bottom of page 8. Document number 20915, T1 in the 47th Ward. Ordinance was referred on January 26th of 2022. Common address is 4624 to 4628 North Ashland Avenue. And the change request from an RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RT4 residential 2-flat townhouse and multi-unit district. We have Liz Butler in the 47th Ward application. Liz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Liz Butler. I'm a partner with the law firm of Elrod Friedman, LLP. We're located at 325 North LaSalle Street in Chicago. Our firm represents the applicant in this matter, 4626 Ashland, LLC. And I'm joined today by Larry Nyhan, who is a representative of the applicant, and Matt Mann, the project architect for this matter. The applicant is requesting a rezoning of the property located at 4624 to 28 North Ashland Avenue from the RS3 residential single unit district to the RT4 residential 2-flat townhouse multi-unit district in order to bring the subject property into conformance with respect to the maximum floor area, which will allow interior and exterior renovations. The property consists of approximately 7,750 square feet of site area and is improved with an approximately 100-year-old 3-story multi-unit residential building and a rear detached garage. The property currently contains 6 dwelling units, all of which are vacant. The applicant, as I mentioned, is proposing to renovate the interior and limited elements of the exterior of the building to upgrade what are currently aging and deteriorating substandard units. Specifically, the applicant proposes to reconstruct the existing rear porch in order to incorporate that area as additional usable area into the living space of the dwelling units. New siding will be added to the building, along with new exterior weather-treated stairs. All of the existing brick will be cleaned and tuck pointed as part of this proposal. So the change from the RS3 district to the RT4 district is needed to legalize the existing non-conforming floor area, which will allow the floor area to be brought into conformity with the RT4 district and allow the interior and exterior renovations. This proposal will preserve and upgrade the 100-year-old residential building and provide much needed family-size rental housing stock in this neighborhood. I see now that the site plan is on the screen. The applicant met with the 47th Ward Zoning Advisory Committee and worked closely with Alderman Martin and the 47th Ward staff. We understand that Alderman Martin issued a letter of support for the project and that a copy of that letter was submitted to the committee in advance of this hearing. We thank the committee for its favorable consideration of this proposal and respectfully request your positive recommendation, and our team is available to answer any questions that the committee might have.
We do have a letter of support from Alderman Martin. And any questions, comments from committee members? Liz, while you have that on the thing, what is this widened opening? What is that on the east elevation?
Is Matt on, or can Larry?
I am on, yes.
Oh, go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
So the opening on the left-hand side of the elevation is an existing opening that is a throughway to the rear yard. So what we're doing is we're just going to open that up in order to gain access to the basement unit.
No vehicular.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. Yes, sir.
No vehicular.
No vehicular. That's correct.
Okay, great. And for the record, would you state your name, please?
My name is Matthew Mann, partner at Kennedy Mann.
All righty. Other questions, comments from committee members? If not, can I get a motion to move to pass by the same
Move to
roll call?
pass, Chairman. Oh, sorry, it's Alderman Wagisback. Move to pass.
So Alderman Wagisback makes a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Any objections to his motion? Hearing none, this item is passed. And now we're on
Thank you.
page 9, document number 20822, 45th Ward. Ordinance was referred on September 14th of 21. Common address is 5016 West Lawrence Avenue, and the change request from a C11 neighborhood commercial district to an RT4 residential two-flat townhouse or townhome and multi-unit district. We have Jimena Castro in the 45th Ward. Ms. Castro.
Hi, good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you. I'll be quick since I know I'm the last item. My name is Jimena Castro. I'm a zoning attorney at Acosta Esker. I am the attorney of the applicant for the matter before you today. The property is improved at 5016 West Lawrence with a two-story residential building with 1 legal unit and 3 legal non-conforming dwelling units. As it is a C11 district, only 1 unit is allowed. It includes a detached 2-car parking garage and 1 surface parking space for a total of 3 units, 3 parking spaces on the property. And we are proposing to rezone the property from a C11 to an RT4 to legalize the dwelling units on the property for a total of 4 dwelling units. No change in parking is proposed, and we seek your favorable consideration for the matter. We also have, I believe, Mary from the Alderman's office as well to indicate Alderman Gardner's support.
Thank you, Ms. Castro. Do we have Alderman Gardner or staff on the call? If so, can you get feedback on the West Lawrence application, please?
I have an email from the staff stating that they're going to testify in support. So.
All right, I'm not hearing anybody from Gardner's staff or the alderman. All right, let me just see.
I just gave a phone call to Marie. I know she was on earlier, I believe.
Okay, so my staff has told me that they have correspondence or they have a phone call from Alderman Gardner expressing his support for the project. So what I'm going to do is ask for a motion to pass it, and I will, like the previous application, work with the alderman to make sure before it's presented to the full city council that it meets with his and his community's support. How does that work?
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. So you've heard the testimony, and any questions for Ms. Castro? All right. Can I get a motion to move to pass by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum with the caveat?
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, with the caveat that I mentioned on the record, and that is Vice Chair Raboyes makes the motion. Any objections to that? Hearing none, this item is passed. Now, we have got one more.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is the deferred item in the 28th Ward. Okay, again, this is, I'm going to read it into the record and ask for a deferral on this item at the request of Alderman Jason Irvin. So it's document number 20956, 28th Ward. Ordinance was referred on February 23rd of 2022. Common address is 2824 West Taylor Street, and the change request from a C12 neighborhood commercial district to a B23 neighborhood mixed use district. So I need a motion to defer this item by the same roll call that was used to determine quorum. Vice Chair Raboyes makes the motion to defer. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, this item will be deferred. And
thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, look forward to seeing you hopefully in the next meeting. All right,
All right,
staff. Anything else? We missed anything? No. All right, then can I entertain a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved, Alderman Wagisbeck.
Alderman Wagisbeck makes the motion to adjourn. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, this item or this meeting is adjourned, and we'll see you all tomorrow.